Hey everyone, welcome to the Nevermind Podcast, episode 7. This one we're talking about ghosts with our good friend Mustygoose.
Musty, you with us?
There
I'm
he is.
Excellent.
Perfect.
Yep, so today, guys, we've got Musty, or Jay, if you prefer Jay. But I'm going to call you Musty because
Fine with either.
I'm obsessed with, I feel like gamer tags. I live in a lot of digital world, and I'm actually more comfortable with my digital name than I am with my real name, like 70% of the time.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, guys, we've got Musty here on today. He, most of you know him from our stream. He's our resident badass, all-knowing pirate. He's got all these great things. He's a fantastic supporter of the stream. He's his own broadcaster on Zombie Foot Gaming, which we'll link here at the end of the stream. He does. You're getting more into streaming there, right? You just started back up.
Yeah. Well, I was part. Well, I technically am still part of another kind of gaming alliance, for one of a better description. But that's kind of quieting down a lot, and the main reason was I have 3 kids, all boys, all love games, and they progressively have got more and more into kind of wanting to play games online and stream. And because of all my kind of downtime, for one of a better description, we decided to kind of go fuck it. We'll set up our own channel, and that we're probably gonna. I'm gonna be going full-time streaming literally tomorrow, so that'll be kind of its first the first day properly.
Excellent.
But yeah, we do. But yeah,
I'm off Monday, so I'll be there. I'm gonna be there all day.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to decide what to play, to be honest with you, because I mean my go-to games are kind of a lot of shoot people in the face and try and survive. So which a lot of people kind of don't like. So
It's
it is what it is.
true. I mean, you just gotta do like it's a healthy mix of like I'm like 70% play what I like and then 30% selling out to trick people into joining my channel and then playing like something they don't want to watch. Like I'm like, look at me, Call of Duty Pro, playing all the games, Battle Royale, sucka, we're playing Empyrean for the next week, and then everyone's like what? That's
That
my
game,
whole technique.
I loved Imperium. I've really gone into Imperium, but that game can fuck right off.
Oh,
It
it's so
literally,
hard.
it's like it's Australia Simulator. Everything will kill you.
I think you should play that. I think
Everything.
you should play the Empyrean on stream all tomorrow. I would watch that. I would watch that stream.
Yeah.
For those of you that aren't
Insta-death circle
familiar,
of death.
just on replacing some deck boards, says Screech. Oh, well, the entertainment is here. Our topic
Yes.
today is going to be a general supernatural. We've done a lot of public. We've done a lot of sort of pop culture and discussions on things like that. So we thought we'd bring it back to some of our roots. We like doing the occasional deep web story or
Deep web.
the scary parts of the internet and the universe and all that supernatural stuff. So I just want to start with, if everyone's okay with it, our general views. Like, I am not a believer in almost anything supernatural. King Cord, you are.
I am a firm believer in everything supernatural.
And Musty, where do you fall on the spectrum?
I'm kind of in the middle, I suppose. I don't believe in ghosts per se, but I have had some very sketchy moments in my life with things that have gone on, which obviously we'll touch upon as time goes on. But I do have some theories that I'm more willing to attribute to supposed supernatural activity than, Charles I decided to come and have tea with me in the middle of the night. So,
Yeah. All right. So before we get into stories, let's let's just talk pure theoretical. I'm one of those people that believes in like almost pure science to the level of like I think that when people feel hauntings, it's like the resonance waves that they talk about.
Yeah, like they're picking up on like electrical waves or like from junction boxes and stuff.
Low things that we can't hear, but our lizard brain picks up on.
Yeah.
Or the same thing with
lizard brain.
Like the other day, I just felt super like uncomfortable. Like, I was just like, I don't like this feeling. And I looked up in the air, and I looked over, and I saw my cat just staring up in the corner. There's like one of those huge like female mosquitoes, the big dangly ones.
Oh yeah.
And like I feel like my brain knew that it was there, even if I didn't like process it. I feel like that's the kind of thing that hauntings like are attributed to. Like I think humans are good at feeling uncomfortable when the brain picks
like
up on
like just
something.
sensing that there's trouble nearby.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
you're thinking no, none of that. That sounds more
No,
bullshit than the real thing.
no, I'm not like that. Like I'm totally for like going to a place where somebody says there's a haunting and disproving it, you know.
Yeah.
Like I'm more willing to go with like an EMF detector or something and go, no, the reason why you're feeling this way is because the wiring in this house is shit and you're picking up on the fields, or you know, there's like some kind of weird magnetic field here, you know.
And so, just to Musty, overall, before we get into your personal stories, has there been any really like haunting or general ghost activity that you've ever seen throughout the world that you just think like, yeah, that's it, like that place is haunted? Like, is any of that realistic in your point of view, like even remotely?
I mean, I have been to what is supposed to be a truly haunted place, which is the vaults underneath Edinburgh Castle, which actually has to this day an active coven of witches that actually reside within one of the many chambers in there. And I'll explain exactly what happened to me a little bit later on. But I mean, there's 100% there are things that cannot be explained. But I think we forget that we are hardwired as we weren't predators, or we were predators to a certain extent, but we were preyed upon. So we have deep instincts within us of like, I don't want to get eaten by a jaguar. But you know, men generally in this day and age don't get eaten by jaguars. But every now and again, I will go, "Oh shit, what is that?" And then similarly, I'll see my cat kind of staring at me, or the dog will be doing something weird. So we have those instincts within us. But I mean, we have well, he's not on anymore, but there's a massive TV show over here called Most Haunted, which was huge. Millions of people tuned in to watch this shit, for want of a better description. But they had like real skeptics on there. They had people that were clairvoyants, people that could talk to the dead, so on and so forth. And that program, plus being British, really hardwired me into going, if you cannot find something even tangible that other than something moves but the corner of it just so happens to be off camera, or we hear some breathy voice saying pickled onions at fucking 3 o'clock in the morning, then yeah, you're not going to get me on that.
Okay. Cal, just to address that, is it better if I get a little closer? I was probably backed off the mic a little bit. I'm used to being too loud, so I'll get a little closer if that helps. Also, and saying hello to Musty, can't go wrong there. Do you have chat pulled up, Musty?
I don't, but I will do.
Yeah, you're welcome to interact with chat with us if you choose to. Like Cal is saying hello to you.
And Cal, the video we left on the drive.
Super loud keyboard, so apologies if you hear the clicky clack if I do reply. But yes, hello.
Well, you can she can hear you. You can just address like we are. You can just answer. Like if she says hello, you can just be like, I'd like to take a moment and say hello to Cal. Like we'll stop to read chat occasionally. Cord just sounds so crisp.
Oh, thank you.
And I sound really far away.
You sound distant, like
I didn't notice it.
Loud and present in my ears.
Yeah, that wasn't present in my ears or the video. That video, by the way, Cal, was not for you. I can certainly turn myself up.
Can you turn that up?
Do you need me to go up or do I just sound muddled? Like what's the
We'll see if that works.
Distant? Yeah, like we can certainly turn
an angry
up.
Spouse.
We can turn up the volume. Yeah. Wait. Oh my God. What if I'm really the ghost?
No.
It's really just Musty and King Cord talking, and I've been dead the whole time.
I've been talking to a ghost this whole podcast.
On the grave.
I probably died doing something dumb, like a 72-hour stream with Insane Labs snorting and Mountain Dew. I can see that, and like a Taco Bell dinner. Like I can see that being the way I go.
Imagine if this is your purgatory.
Oh, just doing crappy podcasts.
A never-ending podcast? That would be not the worst.
A never-ending amateur shitty podcast.
I think it would get old after a while.
I am not sure. You are fine, but Cord sounds better than you, which is funny because I always think you usually don't sound crisp enough. So I feel like that's an interesting take. I'm actually glad that you're crisped up a little bit.
The fact that you described that you're drowning like it's something she's thought about before.
Yeah, she really did jump to that.
She did.
Jews the knee. She says Jews the knee apartment. I think
Juice
she
the knee.
meant
That sounds slightly.
Jews the knee.
Juice the knee.
I feel like we
Sounds
could.
quite Scottish, to be
Yeah,
honest with
we
Yeah.
could just have an entire podcast about typos in the chat.
Yeah,
you.
right
Typos,
now.
yeah.
Well, I'm sorry if it's a little muddled. It's probably my fault. Just to be clear, if there's any sound issues today, they're 100% on me. I forgot. I plugged in one of my cables because I was playing with my MIDI controller at home, and I forgot it. So me and King Court are routed through the same interface.
Yeah.
And that's probably what's causing the muddling, because we're running through multiple channels all mixed down to one mono. So probably, if I had to guesstimate what was causing that, it's probably that. So
Yeah.
but for today, it'll do, and then
Yeah.
we're gonna have it fixed by next week. It'll get a little better each week, and then once we hit our stride, that's where we're gonna lock it down,
Yeah.
tighten it up, and just let it stay there.
I mean, we literally just got this set yesterday, and I'm still moving into
yeah,
the
like when
house,
I
so-
got here, like there's boxes all over King Court's
Yeah.
house. I was like stepping over stuff to get into this room, and like we were setting stuff up super fast, like just trying to get it ready. So
So next week we'll have it better. But
yeah, it should be clean, but that's okay. I'm glad that you're crisp.
Yeah.
King Cord's he's got it. He'll lead us through today, and I'll just kind of
Yeah.
I'll just get real. I'll
Today-
just be really muddled.
Today we're talking about
That
ghosts.
sounds very nice.
But
Yes.
so with Ghost, let's jump right into like what's the ghostly experience. I feel like you've been on at least multiple times when we talked about doing the ghost stream, and at least twice today you've teased a ghost story, and I think I'm just gonna need to dive into the ghost story.
What
and
you
get a
want
feel
to?
for
Do you
it.
want to? Do you want to hear the the one during the BBG days in my old apartment?
No, not yours. I want to hear Musty.
Oh, you're
Musty's
talking to
got-
Musty.
Musty's
Okay.
got a good one.
Okay,
He's
let's hear
the-
Musty.
Okay,
using it.
Well, basically, I used to fly backwards and forwards to Scotland quite a bit, and was in Edinburgh, and decided on a whim. I saw an advertisement for Real Ghost Tour. So
That
So,
sounds
well,
even
yeah, well, nothing
faker.
else better to
That
do.
sounds faker than just putting Ghost Tour.
Yeah.
No, exactly, yeah. But so anyway, so we ended up going into the vaults underneath Edinburgh Castle, which, if anyone, obviously a lot of people from America won't know about this, but Edinburgh Castle is very, very famous because it's one of the center points for the Black Death back in the back in the day. So a lot of people
Oof.
died around there, but also you had a lot of witch trials around there, and overly there's a lot of historical kind of butchery. There's a torture museum there that. So basically, I'll never look at bamboo spikes in the same kind of light again because they were hideous compared to everything else that was there. Anyway, so we went underneath the vaults, and we went into this large kind of room, and it had a bricked up circle in the center of the room with a chain around it. Now the tour guide, although again sprinkle of salt and bullshit aside, said that she herself was a non-believer, but you know that adds to part of the charm, I suppose. But basically what happened was, years and years ago, there was a coven that moved in, so an active witches coven that moved into the vaults at Edinburgh Castle. And they essentially moved in. So in these huge vaults, they moved all their kind of witchery cauldrons and whatever, potions and pills and whatever you want to call it. And they had kids that spend time around there and so on and so forth. And one of the actual coven brought in a wardrobe door that had a mirror on one side of it to use as kind of like a vanity mirror for people that were there. And then after a couple of days, they had kids that kept saying that there was something within the mirror that was beckoning them towards it. It was kind of like quite a tall chap dressed in very old clothing. So one of the coven knew Aleister Crowley, who doesn't know, he's kind of like one of the forefront figures in the Satanic Church, and he kind of gave them some advice that whatever an object is within this world holds the same purpose in another dimension, and because it was a mirror on a door, it was actually working as a doorway from the realm that this thing resided in, to the world that we live in. So anyway, they decided to trap or try and capture whatever this thing was, because more and more things were happening. People were being injured, women more so than men, so on and so forth. So were the most senior person from the coven spent the night, and they had a circle of protection within the Wiccan and satanic cultures. A circle of protection will prevent you from evil spirits from being able to attack you.
Mm-hmm.
And this person woke up in the middle of the night to hearing like demonic voices and scratching and so on and so forth. But obviously was being protected, and then managed somehow, I do not know, because obviously it helps with the story, managed to trap this demon, for want of a better description, in this circle for wherever it would stay. So we walked there and they told us this, and I'm thinking, yeah, bullshit. And then somebody tried to get inside the actual circle, and this tour guide lost her shit and actually threw the person out. Just no ifs, no buts, just threw them out. So everyone kind of went, well, that's a bit odd. So we went into the next room, and this room was just completely pitch black. And as we went into the room, she went, look, what we said about this spirit being against women is very true. But for whatever reason, if women are on the left hand side of the room, nothing should happen. So yeah, whatever. So women on the left hand side, men on the right. Obviously, they just wanted to split the couples up to add to the suspense. But again, a girlfriend who was very kind of skittish went with her boyfriend. They found them and threw them out again. So they were quite enforceful with the actual rules. But this place was, to say it was pitch black was completely different. So after about 5 minutes, we're all sat there, and something keeps drawing me to the back of the room. Like literally, something within me is like, go to the back of the room. Just go like over and over and over and over again. Go to the back of the room. Go to the back of the room. And even so much that I'm like, should I go to the back of the room? So I start going towards the back.
Yeah, real quick, I just want to interrupt. Do you decide, like, when something, if you're in like a place that's supposed to be haunted, and something is calling you to an area, is that something you want to, like, I don't know, is that something you're like, oh man, I need to go there? Or are you like, maybe I shouldn't go to that place? Like,
It depends, because I mean, to preface this, literally when I was younger, I was petrified of the dark, like ridiculously petrified of the dark. Like I used to have to sleep with the lights on, the full 9 yards. So I was seriously scared of the dark. But for whatever reason, with growing up, I kind of got over it. But I was more intrigued than anything, because I'm pretty skeptical in general.
Yeah,
so I was like,
me too.
well, shit, let's go to the back of the room. So I started edging towards the back of the room. And I could feel there was like a bricked. You could feel there was like either like an archway or a doorway, but it was bricked up, and it just kept saying, "Come to the back, come inside, come to the back, come inside." And then they kept talking, and then they wrapped up by saying that they sent some other tour guides in to scream at everybody to make everyone scared, because they said that when people release those endorphins, release the fear, it helps feed the spirit from within the vault, whatever. So then I kind of chatted to the tour guide afterwards. I said, "Oh, what's at the back?" And she goes, "Oh, well, we used to have that open, but there used to be a lot of people were injured and they were attacked, and we had somebody who had like scratches across their face and this and the other. So we actually had to board it up and brick it up because of that." So that kind of left me kind of going, well, that's a bit weird, seeing as I experienced being saying, "Come to the back, come to the back." But then I was like, well, I'm sure the law of averages is on my side. That at some point someone's going to go, "Yeah, what's at the back?" But the vaults themselves were on that show I was talking about, Most Haunted, and they actually had someone attacked on there. If you look on YouTube, you can pull it up. It's like Most Haunted Edinburgh vaults or whatever, and somebody steps inside taking the piss, basically saying, "Well, I don't believe in this bullshit," and then literally 5 minutes later, you see visible kind of marks across their face. And if it wasn't for the fact they were exposed for being complete charlatans, I would be like, "Yeah, that sounds pretty plausible." But
yeah.
so yeah, that's my kind of most major kind of ghost story. But I've had the thing that really scared me at first when I was younger was my grandma died when I was 6, and she had a Labrador called Ben. And I dreamt during the night that my grandma came to me, because she was very unwell for several years, and she ended up dying of a stroke. But she came and spoke to me, and my grandma was, by the way, evil. So it wasn't like we had like it's like, "Oh, grandma, I love you." It was more like, "Why are you conscious, grandma?" Anyway, so she came and told me, she goes, "Oh, I'm in a better place now. Make sure that you look after your mom," so on and so forth. And then I woke up, and the whole time while I was dreaming, her dog Ben was sat next to her. So when I woke up and looked over my bunk beds as it was, Ben was in the exact same place and then got up and walked out as if he was kind of following somebody. So that kind of freaked me out. But again, I still don't believe in what people would traditionally mainstream kind of idea of ghosts themselves. But those are the two
Yeah.
kind of major stories that I've had.
You don't think it's like a ghost sheet apparition going through walls, coming into like haunt stuff. That's not your take on like what you would imagine that even if there is some sort of spiritual.
Well, I think that we all have the potential. Well, it's not potential. We do stream the most psychoactive substance known to man. That's available in all greenery, all plant life. It's what we experience when we're about to die. We get flooded with, I can't remember the name of it now. Peyote is the layman's kind of makeup of it, which you can go into like see a shaman and he'll give you this stuff. Dimethyltryptamine, that's the name of it. We all have that, and it's produced when we're asleep, and we trip balls, literal balls, when we actually have this stuff coursing for us. It's just that we also have something to block it in general senses.
Right.
So I'm more attuned to the fact that our brain is very good at creating senses that are not there, visuals that are not there.
Mm-hmm.
But I also believe in frequencies. I believe that the universe is created of a multitude of frequencies, and sometimes those frequencies do kind of pass through. We see in 2 dimensions, but we know there are 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on and so forth. Yet we cannot perceive them and we can't understand them. So I'm more attuned to believing that that's what we're experiencing. We're experiencing kind of consciousness, a different frequency of a different sphere that we just so happen to be maybe some are more sensitive to than others. So a partial mumbo jumbo, but partially not. I don't know.
No, I definitely think
that's a pretty good theory.
Yeah, I think that's a very effective theory.
Like some kind of like our wavelengths just like overlap sometimes.
Yeah, and they have some proof of that with the sound frequencies causing distress. Like we've proven that. That's why we use dissonance in scary movies. We use certain sounds. Like we've got that. So I definitely believe that.
I think a lot of the problem with today, I mean, obviously like Hollywood and like cable, like they make these like scary ghost shows and stuff because it is like something just to make money off of. But a lot of it too is like when you get a lot of people who go out to those like ghost tours or ghost walks or whatever.
Yeah.
Like probably 9 out of 10 of the experiences is just their over imagination. You know, it's mostly them thinking of what's, you know, like they think something's going on, but really it's not.
Yeah, and I'm with Musty. Like, if I ever am in any sort of supernatural situation, I try to go out of my way to provoke it to some degree because I'm a non-believer. Yeah. So I'm almost to the point where, like, I would love... I mean, obviously, I'm not trying to get like murder balled by a spirit, but like, I would love I would love to essentially see any evidence of some sort of spiritual realm because I'm not stubborn. If I saw something that could make me believe.
have you gone out to like a haunted area or like a ghost tour?
We don't have that many around.
I feel like I want to go on a ghost tour with you.
Yeah.
And just to see you go like fuck you ghosts like in a group of people like no shut up dude.
Yeah. That's
like hey ghost, hey ghost, come
afraid.
Suck my cock.
Well, that seems extreme.
Then you know it's real.
Unless you're watching Ghostbusters, in which case that was a thing that happened.
There's this clip I saw not too long ago, and of course it's on one of those like reality TV shows, so it's probably made up. But they were on a haunted old wooden bridge, and one guy's a believer and one guy's a skeptic, and he's like, okay, so what are you gonna do? And he's like, the skeptic guy's like, well, I'm gonna fucking call it out. I mean, I hope you don't mind, right? And he's like, no, go ahead by all means. And he's like, okay, fuck you, ghosts. This is my bridge. It's my bridge now. Fuck you. Come over here. Get this cock.
What happened?
Then the guy who was like...
He
died a horrible death.
The guy who was a believer just started freaking out. It's like, no, don't do that. And he's like, no, fuck this ghost. Fuck this bridge. It's my bridge now. I'm going to burn it down. So I feel like that would be you. Like
that is how I feel, though. Although I probably wouldn't... Maybe, actually, no, that sounds like a lot like something I would do. So, I don't know. Like, I've never had any sort of supernatural experience. Like, I've never had there's been a few things that have been
Like,
sketched.
have you had things where you questioned it,
Yeah,
and
well,
then you're just like, there's just a scientific
usually,
reason.
yeah,
for
yeah.
this.
It's usually just like an accident. Like, back when we ran our old podcast, that day we were talking about ghosts, and my phone called my grandma.
Yeah.
Like, I was literally, my grandmother had passed away. We were talking about the other like world, the other realm, if you will, on stream. And my phone was like calling your dead grandma. Like it just decided to do that. I was like, whoa, no phone. And that was interesting. But realistically, my phone.
But I mean,
never
that's
listens
just
to
a
anything.
glitch.
That's
a glitch
Like
with the
Cal is
device.
a total non-believer.
Me too. I am a complete non-believer as well. I want to believe because I think it'd be really interesting, the mythos, and like I just can't do it because I can't believe in something that I don't see.
I mean,
have so much trouble with
I
it.
can't tell you in my experiences that I saw like a full apparition.
Right.
I can't tell you like I haven't even, other than the occasional like you hear in the distance like somebody calling your name, but I think that's just something everyone just goes through. Like it's just like, what do you call it, audio matrix, whatever.
Right, sounds are probably the most likely. Yeah. The other day, I got up and it was like 5 a.m. I was getting ready to go to bed, and I could clearly, clear as day, hear like a faint like Saints Go Marching In playing. And I was like, what the fuck? Is Taylor in there listening to the Saints Go Marching In? And I went in there, and I couldn't find it. I couldn't find where it was coming from. I looked like kind of all over. I thought, I leave my computers on, so sometimes if somebody, like right now when we start streaming, my computer just kicked on noise. So if Cal's over watching TV, it might scare you because it just kicks on and people start talking.
Yeah.
So I thought it was something like that. I'm looking around to see what I had on that turned on. And then I realized
Saints come marching in, just like waiting.
Yeah, and I finally get down and I realize that it's coming through one vent, like in the bathroom, like from underneath. And I'm like, I get closer and closer because I don't believe in anything. So I'm trying to actually decide, is my basement neighbor listening to the Saints Go Marching In at 5 a.m.?
Yeah.
And it never stopped. I decided, I'm like,
so somebody else in the
wait.
building like listening to it.
Yeah, that's what I thought. But I sat there for like 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Like, obviously, by the time the song should be done.
You sat in your bathroom?
I just
sat in
on
your
the ground
bathroom with
like,
your ears to the vent.
I was so curious.
For 15
Again,
minutes.
I'm always looking for any proof.
Yeah.
It just kept playing like this faint, like, trumpet.
It was probably just like the flow and the vents.
That's all I can figure. Like, I don't believe it was a ghost.
Like
but
the vibration of
sound.
the metal
The main
vents.
point being that sound is the most like likely to make me believe because there's sometimes you just hear something playing and it's not coming from anywhere. You know what I mean? How do you feel about that?
We had
something like that.
we had something. Me and my wife had something very, very similar. We were living for a time. We were living with my wife's mother, and we were in.
Oh my god!
What?
I forgot about that story. Cal said that she heard the Saints Go Marching In playing once too. I forgot that you had that story.
That's even creepier.
Yeah. Oh my god. Maybe our neighbor really likes the Saints
Maybe
Go
he's
Marching
fucking
In.
with you.
Yeah. Oh
Maybe,
my god.
Maybe he's just like taped it to
Yeah,
the
he's just. Oh my god. Was it coming from below when you were hearing it, Cal? I even knew that you had that story, but when I heard it, I never put that together. I don't tell Cal. She probably doesn't even know that happened to me.
Cal's now a believer.
Well, right, because I don't. Anytime something scary happens, I just don't tell Cal because she's not a believer, but she gets spooked really easily. Like she's the kind of person where if it's just dark and you're like, was something moving over there? Like she'd be like, don't you fucking say that to me. Like, don't even put that out there.
Yeah.
And so I just don't tell her when creepy things happen, essentially, at all. Oh, see,
we had something similar.
Oh god, yeah. What'd you run into?
We were in the living room and we literally heard like a bell toll, and not like it was in the room, like something like we were in a church, and you hear this dong, and we just kind of stopped, froze, and went, "What the fuck was that?" And then we kind of made sure the TV wasn't on, phones. Then it happened again, and then again, and then again. And it only happened that one time, and it never happened since. But it's still something I absolutely cannot believe or attribute anything else to, because it was so
Yeah.
in the room, in the house of us. There's no way it could have been a next door neighbor. There's no way it could have been anything else, other than apparently we had a bell in the room for 10 minutes or 15 minutes. So yeah, there's shit like that, and that's again, I think sound frequencies are a big part of it. But one thing I wanted to throw out there, because if you look through cultures, no matter what culture it is, whether it's Western civilization, whether it's Polynesian, anything else, you seem to have, in the beginnings of each of their kind of history or written text, they speak about spirits. So they have mischievous spirits and this, that, and the other. It's only when we started learning about cultures could we then attribute it to ghostly activity being people from a different civilization or people from a different time period. So I find it funny that at one point it was there was like a realm of spirits that only would possess other people. But then as time went by, I went, oh yeah, actually, I saw a Roman last week, or I saw this, that, and the other. But no one ever speaks about seeing like ab hominin kind of humans, or seeing a T-Rex walk past last week. Is like the ghost thing makes me chuckle, because the advancement in technology has seen a decline in actual sightings. Overall, if you look worldwide, the advancement of cameras, same with UFOs. UFOs used to see grainy bullshit frisbees all over the place, but then as time went by, when cameras got better and better and better, you could either see, well, actually, that's obviously done in Premiere Pro or Final Cut or whatever, or you just don't see it anymore. So I find that kind of timeline interesting, and and also I think that the fact that so many people play on people's grief, that's why ghosts hold so much merit within society, because people want to believe that there's so. I want to believe that my dead son or father or grandma is there. So they cling on to that, and the utter scummy industry that surrounds that, for want of a better description, because I'm sure there are some people that truly do believe that they have special extrasensory gifts and powers, and they're probably crazy, but there are people that genuinely just rip people off. Go, but I'm getting a name. Why don't these extra spirits? Why don't they have middle names or last names? Why do they only have starts with an N?
Yep.
Just to see who kind of tweaks and is
we
triggered
had
by
those crossing over with, what was that guy's name? Crossing over with John something, or we had a couple of TV shows like that.
Well,
a
we
real
also have
twist the knife into people's grief.
We have the Long Island medium too.
Yeah, the Long Island medium.
No, there's what was the one that was like she was from Jersey or something.
Yeah,
the
like Long Island.
Long Island medium.
Yeah, was that her? Yeah. So like the Jersey Shore would spat her out or something.
Yeah.
Oh,
shit,
God.
I love there's videos on YouTube where she's like failing really badly.
Oh, of course. Well,
she's like, I'm getting like somebody's aunt here.
It's a trick. It's a charlatan's trick.
Yeah. They also showed, like, when they did the live shows, that some of the like ushers or whatever will like give people like these like little like cards, and they're supposed to fill shit out.
Oh,
and then they give it to like some guy who's got a radio set like in the back, and he'd like radio it to the guy on stage.
That's terrible.
But not only that though, but they also have, because there's a woman over here called Sally something. I can't remember her surname, but she essentially she got in a lot of trouble not so long ago because a woman who was sat towards the back of the theater, someone had left the door ajar, and she could hear the person feeding the information to her on stage. But what they do is they don't forget that people go and see her multiple times, so they all know each other. So they've had like multiple readings, and it not only promotes how stupid we are as a species, but also, I mean, if you've ever seen a guy, he's a British guy called Derren Brown. He had some success over in the States, but not so much. But he's a magician, for want of a better description, but he specializes in psychology and
isn't he like
suggestive thoughts.
He's like the persuading guy. He can persuade you to do anything.
Yes.
He once he went to a dog track, and basically he bet on the losing dog every single time, went up to the usher and went, "This is the ticket you're looking for," and got paid out on it every single time. Like, the woman just kept giving him the money. So he's that level of like, I'll take your soul. but he proved that he can do what they claim to do and better with not a smidge of extrasensory knowledge or
Right.
a spirit guide
Yeah.
or fucking. He doesn't even need someone to sit at the back and feed him lines. He just knows how to pluck that information from somebody's and that's what people don't understand. You give so much information away just by the way that you speak, the
Yep.
inflection of your voice, the way that you look. It's very easy for someone who's trained on how to do that to take full advantage of it. And
Yeah.
because we're just stupid, we just
Yeah.
go, oh yeah, it must be Ethel. She's talking to me from beyond the grave.
Oh God, it's so
I
true.
I watched his special, his newest one on Netflix,
Yeah, yeah.
and he made fun of like those like down in like it's mostly in Southern America, like the southern states of America,
Yeah.
where like these people will go to like churches and believe that the priest or whatever like
Oh yeah.
can like heal them through the power of
Yep,
God.
Yep. Or
And
the
it's-
ones where they get like possessed and speak in tongues and shit.
Yeah, well, he did this. Like, he's like, I'm gonna do exactly the way I observed other people doing it, and you will still feel as if I've healed you. And like a bunch of people come up and like, I ain't got back pain anymore. My leg's fixed. Like, how'd you do this? And this guy's like, I don't have my heart's not doing a weird rhythm anymore. You fixed me. And then he's like, at the end, he's like, you've all been lied to. There's no God. Like, I didn't heal you at all.
God.
You just feel this way.
That's dark. That took a dark turn.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he is. He's an amazing guy. He's probably his most famous show over here was he got 6 guys to rob an armored car, just average guys. None of them knew what they were doing. Basically, over a series of weeks, he was doing these different psychological tests on them, and he was there's that Michael Jackson song. I can feel it, and that was a trigger song. So essentially, what would happen is at the end of the show, these guys were walking down the street, and a car went past playing that music. Then all of a sudden, they literally pulled the gun out from a bag, held the guy up. I mean, everyone was staged, so they all knew what was happening.
Right.
And robbed this car and ran off with the money. And he had to have like teams of people to tackle these guys because in that moment they fully were invested in. I'm robbing you. I'm taking this money. And even some of them tried to pull the trigger at people that were. It was. He is a frightening human being. Very frightening.
See, I find that much more frightening than ghosts.
There was another show on
Imagine
Netflix.
being his partner. Imagine being his partner, and you're like,
Yeah.
"Where have you been?" You're like, "Somewhere." No, you haven't.
There's
You're out
another
with
show on Netflix where he convinces people through small, just very small acts of wrongdoing to eventually go up to murder. Where like he starts off, it's like some kind of like banquet thing or whatever, and he's like, "Oh hey, we're supposed to get vegetarian meatballs, but they didn't show up, so we're just gonna put vegetarian meatball flags in the actual meatballs," and through things like
the Darren Brown one, yeah, that was amazing.
yeah, through small acts, he finally got them to the nerve where he's like, "I've already done this much. I might as well kill this guy."
Yeah, and that's the human condition. I mean, that's how that's how real monsters are born. I mean, that's how all of us think. Like, you're like, oh shit, I already did this bad thing. It's not really that much worse to do this. Like, human condition. That's how it
also makes you wonder. It also makes you wonder about people that you have like these random acts of killing, where you have all of a sudden some guy goes out and kills somebody.
Yeah.
You have no idea that can easily be orchestrated by a third party, and it's proven by him. He did that where he got, and the thing was, to kill this person, he had to push them off a roof. It wasn't like you just close a door on them. He had to physically go up to them and push them off the roof, and it wasn't for the fact that he was already attached to a winch. That guy would have actually died. So, and all these people in the moment actually believed what was actually going on. So it's a very, very strange thing. But he's done a lot to debunk a lot of kind of mysticism around clairvoyancy and extraterrestrial, not terrestrial, extra poltergeist kind of activities.
I would say I did forget. Cal mentioned it a while back. The closest thing I've ever you mentioned the chemicals that you make while you sleep, Musty, and Cal was mentioning it in chat. Have either of you guys ever had? I think we've mentioned it once before on another stream, but you guys have had some of the sleep paralysis, right?
Mm-hmm.
That shit'll put the fear of supernatural right into you. I would wake up for about 3 weeks. After I went to full-time streaming and was changing my sleep schedule,
I
would wake up in the middle of the night with these just fucking monstrous figures reaching out over the bed to me.
Yeah.
And I would want to scream and like bat at them, and then eventually I would wake up and be like, oh my god, like with my blocking, and just be like, the fuck, I'm just dreaming, and then just roll over and go back to bed.
Have you ever had that? Like, have
horrible.
you ever had fear, like not like sleep during a sleep paralysis session, but like being fully awake in life, have like a fear where like you just go, oh my god, and you like protect yourself?
Only if I see something out of the corner of my eye.
It's like I had that not that long ago.
Yeah.
And like I'm a big guy and I don't scare very easily,
Right.
but like something was coming was coming
I don't have a
right
mute
at
button.
me.
I was looking for a mute button. I don't have one on
And
this one.
and you go into fear, and then like as soon as you realize that you're completely fine, nothing was attacking you.
Yeah.
Then you're like, it's just like sheer embarrassment for me. At least.
It is. It is. Or it's a simple. You know what? I hate bugs. Like overall, it's like a butterfly will pass me. I'm like, oh my god, and I'll be like,
Yeah.
oh, that was a butterfly.
Yeah.
Like, god damn it.
God damn it. Could have sworn that was a wasp.
I used to get sleep paralysis quite a bit, but mine would be. I don't know if you've ever seen Train Spotting. It's quite a famous film about heroin addiction in the UK. But anyway, there was a part where he overdoses, and essentially he's lying on the floor, and he sinks into the actual floor itself. So like the carpet goes into the floorboards and everything. I used to get that feeling all the time, where I'd literally sink into the bed and I couldn't move. And you just hear this breathy thing, like speaking in tongues, like this like demonic voice.
Jeez.
And I used to I would be screaming inside my head, but I couldn't move a muscle, couldn't say anything. And I would literally it felt like I was trying to scrabble my way back up to the surface, and I would suddenly get through it. But I actually learned to quite enjoy it. So I would just kind of go, well, I know I'm not going to die, because that's the feeling you get.
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually going to die. I'm getting pulled into hell. All those things I used to say about people are catching up with me. But it was, but you just kind of, because you know that it's not real, you can then once you're over that initial fear, you can then kind of learn to have fun with it. So I'm like, yeah, shit, I'm going to be like tripping for a few minutes. Let's go with it. See what happens.
It's like lucid sleep paralysis. How interesting.
Which, because I've had insomnia for years and years and years. And I used to go like 2-3 days without sleep. So I would literally see things all the time. And my grandfather actually did as well. He was very, very sick for a long time, but the pills he used to take would keep him up. And he used to talk about like spiders crawling up the walls, policemen coming round to black sack him into the back of a transit and take him off.
God,
all sorts of weird and wonderful shit. But but you just kind of learn to live with it. I'm always tired, always tired. If I get 4 hours sleep a night, I'm good. So you just kind of embrace the dark side, I suppose.
Yeah.
But yeah, it can lead to some pretty, you can hallucinate. Like, if you sleep that little, you can occasionally, it's almost like you learn to live in this alternate reality where you see things and you just kind of accept that they're there, occasionally.
What if that's the way to see the fourth dimension?
Right, like, by not sleeping, you tap into it, and you just kind of, accept
you
that.
Tap it, and then you see the real other, monsters and creatures that are walking around among us.
Like, John dies at the end, when they take the soy sauce and, can see, the monsters and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Or in a sausage party when they take the bath salts.
Oh,
and then all of a sudden they can see all the food talking to them.
Oh god!
That film, it was the last 5 minutes of that film changed my life forever.
Was that the orgy scene?
The orgy scene was just a work. It was a masterstroke.
The orgy scene.
And then they all realized they're cartoons too.
I literally had nightmares after the orgy scene. Yeah,
it was just the level of depravity they went to. I was just like, bravo.
It got really bad, really fast. They didn't just they could have stopped at any point, but it just kept getting worse.
It did blow my mind that the bagel was Edward Norton.
It was also the fact you had a pita bread and you had the whole Jewish Palestinian aspect to it.
Yeah.
Just whoa,
so much. Yeah, it's how could you even have suggested that? And then I watched an interview with Seth Rogen talking about it, and he's like, honestly, it was one of the situations where we were so sure the censors were going to block it all that we just kept going worse and worse so that they would block that and we would just get what we wanted. But they didn't block it. It just kept getting worse and worse, and nobody would stop it. That just cracked me up.
South Park for that.
Yeah, it's so funny. They expected them to shut them down, so they made it specifically bad so they could be
Yeah.
like, all right, I guess we'll take out the Palestine Jewish thing and we'll keep in the rest. But no, they were just like, yeah, no, approved. And they were like, oh God.
Oh no.
There's also the fact of the level of people that were involved, because it wasn't just like Seth Rogen and his friends. I mean, you had people like Edward Norton, who's like, I mean, he likes having a laugh, but I don't think he ever thought of like rimming a pita bread or like
Yes.
it just depraved is not the word, but it was beautiful. It was a beautiful thing.
That was
Oh
hilarious.
God. And
Yeah.
no, it's I can't even. I think, but I'm pretty sure that some of my nightmares actually stem from that orgy scene. I'm like 90% sure, like 90. But
So I wanted to ask King Cord, don't mind me asking you a question. What makes you such a? What is behind your belief? What makes you kind of go, yeah, for sure, there's an afterlife and there's ghosts and X, Y, and Z.
yes,
Uh,
I'm curious too.
well, see, it's kind of I don't know. It's kind of weird. I've always like I grew up hearing like my dad's ghost stories and basically my whole family's ghost stories, and then I was like, yeah, but those are just stories, like that will never happen to me and shit.
Right.
And then one day I like went out and fucked around with a bunch of friends and walked through like an abandoned insane asylum. And
Here in town,
yeah, here in town.
they tore it down.
They tore it. It was the one by the army base out. Like I think it's outside.
Okay, yeah, okay, they tore that down. That was a long time.
That was a
okay,
long
I
time
remember
ago.
that though.
But like when I was there, I felt like I saw something. But now when I look back, it's probably like I said, my imagination running wild. But I also felt like I kind of like tapped into a world where like I just like cracked open, and all of a sudden now I'm like just open to this.
Well, it
like
seems
like this stuff like comes and finds me now.
Right, like once that's actually in a lot of lore. A lot of lore states that basically if you crack into seeing something from another dimension, that you become like something that they gravitate towards.
Like a lot of the
theory.
people who do smudges
Become a
call it.
conduit.
Yeah,
Exactly.
a lot of people who believe in like smudging, and like, do you know what smudging is, Musty?
They might have a different
When you
name.
smudge a house or whatever, like you go through with the smoke and you fan it around and shit.
Purifying rituals.
A lot of them think like if you go out looking for that stuff and you find it, they call it you're cracking your head open. It's also kind of like a callback to if you do like LSD and then all of a sudden like 30 years later you can have another high if you like break your back or something, So I kind of feel like that because ever since then I started picking up or noticing a lot more of spiritual world stuff. And like I also kind of like trained myself to be like, okay, that's your imagination, or hey, that's a noisy air vent, or that's the wiring in the house is fucking with your senses,
Right.
But like kind of my experience is all it's either been I've been touched, I've been tried to be yanked out of my bed, but I can't because I'm like 400 pounds, so no ghost is that strong, I guess. And also like there's just kind of like messages that are just kind of like left behind for me to find.
But you haven't had. You're not like taking a shower and getting out and having something written on your mirror though.
No, it's not like Hollywood hauntings, is what I. Right? Yeah, it's like you forgot to wash your ass, asshole. No, it's not like Hollywood hauntings or it's not like cringy, creepy. Like I always like I'm sitting there like I can't fall asleep and it's like 3:00 in the morning. I'm like, all right, am I gonna hear a door slam or something?
Right.
But that so far hasn't happened, and hopefully now that I've said it doesn't happen. I have that worry where I give the idea out,
Right.
like,
you
oh
put
shit,
it out into the universe.
I'm missing something.
It's just out there now.
But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I went to Arizona to Tombstone, which is like a famous ghost town.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a place called the Birdcage there, and that's where the world's longest poker game was back in like the Wild West days.
Yeah.
And I walked through there, and I didn't feel a thing, and everyone else is like, "This place is fucking haunted, dude. Like I can feel it." And I'm like, "There ain't shit here."
Yeah.
And then like I went down to the basement where they were holding the card games. where the longest poker game was held.
Yeah.
And they had, of course, they had mannequins out like staged to look like they're doing poker or
Which
whatever.
is just fucking creepy already.
And I turn around to go up to the stairs. I'm the only one down there. And granted, this could be like a little fucking speaker in the wall they put there just to scare the fucking patrons or whatever.
Right.
But I swear to God, I heard like card shuffling, like right behind me. I was like, what the fuck was that? I was like, was that fucking cards, dude? Like,
your brain though, it hears that, like, yeah, like, so that's where it's just like, do you hear the card shuffling, which would be a fair ghost sound to assume you would hear there?
Yeah.
Or does your brain register that because it just thinks that's would be what's
like
proper?
Like that's what I meant by like audio matrixing.
Yeah.
Like, where like you just hear a sound, and all of a sudden you're like, that was cards. I'm near cards. That had to have been card shuffling.
Yeah, your brain. Know? I mean, our brains, for how smart they are just the fucking dumbest. They never do what they're supposed to do. It feels like 90% of the time.
But I had
There's
that
a
one.
reason why lie detectors are not admissible in court anymore, because they've learnt that we can convince ourselves of any eventuality if we believe hard enough. So it's we are probably the least reliable source of anything anywhere.
Yes.
Because I've seen things that I could recall, but then again, am I recalling what actually happened, or am I recalling what I kind of remember what happened and then interlacing it with stuff that I'm like, well, if that happened, then that must have happened. So it's like,
all the time I'll be like, yeah, you were there for that, and then Taylor will be like, I was not there for that. You're just imagining that I was there. And I was like, what? Like, your brain does it. Just like fills in the gaps like all the time. Yeah. And you're just like, and that's super helpful when you're doing something.
Isn't that what like they call, like, instead of remembering, you're just remembering the memory.
Yeah,
when you remember the memory, you fill in the gaps so that way it's more of a good story to tell.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah.
And then another option, the main reason, I believe in science. I believe in science for the most part. And I just believe that, and now that's not to say that science doesn't change. Science changes all the time. Mm-hmm. But with our current set of laws, we know that energy cannot be created or destroyed. Like, there's a set of energy and it just moves through the universe. And with that being the way it is, it wouldn't make sense to me for ghosts to be, because essentially somehow if we're creating new life with the new generations, the life that is extinguished has to be filtering to that through some form. Otherwise, this energy, if all these ghosts are around, our energy is being created for newborns and then not dissipating at the end and like being reused. So like, it wouldn't make sense to our laws of nature for there to be ghosts, like literally, just because when someone dies, that energy is returned to whatever pool you believe in to start the new generation based on the laws of science. And that's what I go to as my main defense in my head of like, that sort of supernatural.
Yeah.
But who knows, because the laws change all the time. If we're looking at the vast universe, the life pool could be a little bit bigger.
Yeah,
that's where I kind of come from, the whole aspect, because it used to be believed that we were kind of like a cosmic anomaly. The Earth just so happened to be in the right place at the right time, in the right century or millennia, whatever you want to call it. But we now know, to the best of our abilities, that the universe is actually replicates itself over and over again. So we have a similar system of planets, a similar system of stars, all surrounding a giant ball of gas, and so on and so on. So how do we know that we are not experiencing the kind of frequency shifts that come from another existence on another plane, or even the multiverse theory of the fact that there are rifts that eke energy and light and sound on both sides. So someone somewhere goes, well, there's like a fat tattooed British guy and he's talking about fucking dinosaurs. What's that about? And that could just be the way the universe works, because we know that we have every television, every radio wave will never stop traveling. It continues at a constant rate for infinity. So eventually, life is going to get, I don't know whether you want to call it K-Rock or BBC Radio 1 or The Simpsons or whatever you want to call it. So is it that far out of our realm that there might be a higher existence somewhere, and their actual projection has visuals as well as sound. It's
Yeah.
not that far removed at all. It really isn't.
No, we run into that all the time. Like the formatting. Like there's probably realistically, I think everyone at this point in that's not just pure religious believes that there's other planets with some other life to some degree.
Yeah.
And with that being out there, I love the idea that maybe just nobody's syncing up. One race is advanced enough that they're not looking at radio waves. Another has not developed radio waves. Like, we're shooting out radio and neither of them can see it because they're using something different. Like, how annoying, like, is that?
They're AM, we're FM.
Yes, exactly. Like, and eventually, like, just the idea that tomorrow we could develop, oh, now this is our new form of communication, just as another like franchise.
They switched the radio.
Yeah, they're like, oh, we got radio, let's send those out and see if we meet anything. Like, how fucking annoying.
You can just imagine it. Like, NASA goes, well, we've found this new kind of receiver, and it now can scan like an infinite amount of frequencies, and you flick that switch and it's like a crowded stadium of people all talking at once in languages we've never conceived. Everyone's like, what the fuck, turn it off.
That would be,
you just don't know.
And then you have to make that decision, like, do you live in that world, or do you just turn that bitch off and just pretend you never invented it?
I would not want any part of that. Even if you just heard like one voice whispering saying, we come for you tomorrow, and you're just like, okay, we're just going to turn it off. I'm going to go get drunk. I'll see you tomorrow.
Yep. No, but yeah, that's like how the universe, the world, like, I'm more likely to believe in the multiverse theory. The idea of, like, that across infinite planes of existence, we are all three, well, I guess not in every plane, but in multiple planes, we're all sitting here, and that in theory, something could leak between the two. I think that's more, I know that sounds insane. That seems still less insane than ghosts to me.
No, it's not at all. I mean, hey, here's another thing. Why don't we get boring ghosts?
Yeah, right? That's what I'm saying. Like,
billions and billions of people have died over the existence of humankind. Why is it we always get the headless horseman?
yes.
Or the fucking, or the crazy person who wants to throw vases at people. Why don't we get like Jeff, the guy who just wanted to sit and listen?
Well, it depends on
the guy who pays his ghost bills.
Yes, exactly. It depends on your lore. In a lot of lore, the ghosts are only formed like if something tethers their spirit.
Yeah.
Because they're either angry or aggressive. But I feel like, I mean, we're humans. We all die angry.
Yeah, why isn't it like?
That means everyone would still be.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like,
oh
yeah, when I'm dead, angry. I'm angry right now. I'm gonna be angry the day I die.
I'm angry now.
Yeah, why can't I get the ghost who's like?
I mean, imagine an old British woman. They are like the angriest people on the face of the earth. I was stood in the queue in a post office years ago. And it was the post office. I don't know what they're like in the States, but over here they get real busy real quick. So there's
terrible.
like 30 people deep. Everyone's like pissed off, holding their packages, sweating balls, and everything else. And then all of a sudden, you just see like one by one, everyone kind of jumps and goes, oh, oh. And then you just see this small head just moving through everybody. And it was this old lady. She must have been like 90, just fucking people out of the way, just shoving them out of the way. And one person went, excuse me, what are you doing? She goes, I might die, and just keeps walking, and just everyone goes, all right, fair enough.
Oh,
So
God.
Anger is a real thing. We embrace our anger probably more than most people, I think.
What were you saying? You want a ghost that...
I was like, why can't I get the ghost who's like a mechanic who just like fix my car for me?
Yeah, like why aren't there more normal ghosts?
Yeah.
Like, surely there's got to be a few out there that want to do us some favors.
Yeah. Why can't?
My router's not working. Where's Tech Guy Ghost? Come and help me.
Yeah.
The other alternative is that, like, you guys have seen Supernatural, right? Everyone's seen Supernatural.
Yeah.
In Supernatural's lore, even if ghosts aren't born out of pure anger, it's like living in that existence makes them angry. So that's one. One of the stuck in the spirit realm just pisses them off.
One of
endlessly.
the theories of like the ghosts is that they're stuck in like pure purgatory because they have like unfinished business or whatever.
Unfinished business,
or like a lot of them like are just repeating the same shit that they did like on their last day.
Right,
or whatever.
And one theory being that if they don't deal, like if they just live never finishing what they're meant to finish, that they slowly become disheveled angry spirits instead of just like regular. And I mean that would be me for sure. I can't even finish my unfinished business in real life, let alone in the spirit realm.
Right.
I guess I'm gonna be.
Who gets to decide? Who gets to decide what the line is? I mean, it could be like,
Yeah.
I didn't pay my last AT&T bill, or you're gonna stay here, motherfucker, until you pay it.
I guess it's,
Who decides?
maybe it's you. Maybe if it's like I'd be like, oh fuck that bill, so I get to go to I'm out. But
You're like, I don't care if I paid
Maybe
this
it's an
bill.
internal struggle.
yes, exactly.
Yeah, maybe.
And yeah, like I mean,
I like Aziz Ansari's explanation for ghosts.
what is his?
He was like, you know how like ghosts are always like turning on faucets and lights and shit? What if they're just like people from like back before we had plumbing and electricity and like, hey, check this out, man. This fucking this
But
shit
for
just turns on
real.
by a flip of a switch.
It would be kind of
Could
weird.
seriously be true, though.
That could be.
Seriously true, though.
Like if I walked into a spapeship tomorrow, I'm toggling everything. Tick tick
Right?
tick. Like I would want to know how everything works.
It's like shit, the water it just comes in from the outside. I don't have to go out and get it.
Maybe that's why we've never actually seen aliens, because a ghost goes, "What does this shit do?" and just hits that one red button.
Yep.
Yeah.
Every time, every single time.
Yeah.
No, I definitely am more of a believer in the multiverse theory than ghosts. Like on a list of things, the more scientific backing for it, the you know, like all the to better or to worse. Like I think we all know how rough it was when we found out dinosaurs have feathers. That really took me for a ride. I really didn't deal well
really
with that.
fucked up Jurassic Park,
Yeah,
it?
that really hurt me. That
or
cut
how
me deeply. I'm like, wait.
Pluto isn't a planet anymore.
Yeah, the Pluto's not a planet. It's an ice dwarf, and guess what? Your favorite Hollywood dinosaurs, they looked like giant turkeys. Like, fuck you, man. Quit trying to ruin things for me, science.
And they ate vegetables.
Yeah,
Each other, they
like-
ate vegetables.
Quit trying to ruin shit for me, science. Like, for better or for worse, I believe what science kind of dictates. And currently, there's just no backing.
You know, it was Neil deGrasse Tyson that was the forefront of why Pluto got declassified, right?
Yeah, I remember.
It was his fault.
It cut me deep, man. It cut me
That
deep.
did
Evil
cut me
bastard.
deep.
Yeah, goddamn it. I love Neil, but I should. It's just why? Why just leave it? Just fucking leave it.
Yeah. It's like my whole life was a lie when he changed that shit.
Yep.
To be fair, I feel like an idiot because I've got young children, so it's like I remember it as I was taught that Pluto was a planet. So
Yeah.
actually, it's like, no, Dad, it's an ice dwarf. Okay, all right.
Right? And you don't want to be. You don't want to
Go
get.
to your room.
You don't want to get caught to be that guy who's like teaching their kids wrong.
Yes.
Like you don't like if I told my kid like no that's a planet and then he goes to school and I'm like no
Yeah.
sorry your dad's a stupid piece of shit. It's a nice dwarf.
That's it. We're homeschooling you.
Never-
It's a goddamn planet.
Don't listen to your dad. Obviously he didn't pay attention.
Amazon you a helmet immediately.
Oh god. But yeah, like I don't know if science like that's what I'm saying. Like if science tomorrow was like, oh dude, ghosts are real, I would just take that at face value and be like, I guess I was wrong.
I mean I can
There it
definitely like see like the whole like it's basically like a peep into another dimension or whatever.
I'm more likely to believe in that. It makes a lot of sense to me.
Well, we have things that are truly unexplainable. We have events with. I mean, but the thing is, as smart as people are, we're still pretty stupid. Even by our smartest guy in the realms of the cosmos, we don't know squat about anything. We have a rough guesstimate
Yes.
about what things do in what. I mean, there was a big theory years ago that carbon had nothing to do with the way that the universe was built up. And look how far that got people.
Yep.
Yeah.
Carbon's
Everything's made of
everything.
carbon,
Yep.
for Christ's sake.
That reminds me of
And
the Rick
everything
and
sees. Sorry, go on.
Oh no, sorry. I was just reading. Cal said that when we were talking about Pluto, reminder of that Rick and Morty where they go to Pluto, like to
talk to the
discuss,
people.
to discuss whether the Plutonians, they're all trying to argue whether it's a planet or not. Go on though.
One of my kids accidentally looked up on YouTube the actual Pickled Rick episode.
Oh, yeah.
And then I kind of walked in at the point where he was wearing one of the rats as like an exoskeleton. I was
Yep.
like, "What are you doing? Get that shit off
Oh,
immediately!"
that's a terrible episode. That show is not appropriate for children.
No.
That and the what was the episode with the dog? It was one of the earlier episodes.
Oh,
where he had the
the-
dog.
Will the
Yeah,
dogs take
the
over
dogs
the
take
human
over the
race?
world.
Because he made
That
a
was
helmet.
so fucked up.
Because they didn't wasn't it because they didn't know what he wanted and so they're like I'll make a helmet so it can tell you
Yeah.
whether he's hungry or he needs to take a shit.
Exactly, and then they once they question like who they are.
Impression right there.
Oh,
Yeah,
thank you.
It was great. It was fantastic. Like that show was amazing, but I would not
I
let my
love that
children
show.
watch it.
No.
No, it's not for kids.
That Pickle Rick
Even
episode
even
fucks with
Family
me.
Guy.
Yep, Family Guy's
Even Family Guy,
bad.
like American Dad, my kids go, "Oh, I really want to watch it." I'm like,
Maybe when you're like
Yeah.
a little.
You can
older.
Netflix it later.
Yeah. If you're gonna watch that, watch it behind my back and pretend you're not.
Yeah. Do like I used to do with my parents. I just watch that shit when they were home.
See, Cal says the Meeseeks episode. Have you seen Rick and Morty? All of it, Musty?
I think I'm on season 3. I think
Yeah,
it is.
that's the last one. I binge watch it all the time, like rewatch it. The Meeseeks episode makes me question life, but the one, actually, the Pickle Rick one, the one you're talking about, at the end, there's a whole monologue about, that really hits close to home for me about how, some people can go to work every day and be just, live life and be happy, and that there's other people where they'd rather literally put a bullet in their brain than go work a 9 to 5 every day. And like for me, where I live eating bologna off the streets basically, because the idea of going into work from 9 to 5 every day and punching the clock makes me literally want to be dead.
Yeah,
and like it hit too close to home.
But that seeing that disc of sadness that you were eating the other day on stream, I was just like,
I was eating bologna.
No,
live on
I watched that
you
stream,
were on there?
and I was even
I
oh, that's
3D
terrible.
print you a vegetable and just send it to you.
3D print you a vegetable. Yeah, I was even watching that. I was like, oh my god, you're eating
with
like
the little jalapeno.
Did you
slice?
pick that out of the gutter or
It's
something?
like
That's
Jesus
the best
Christ.
thing about it.
It
I'm
is.
down with the spice.
But
it's the hips, lips, and eyebrows.
Yeah, you put 3 of those like in a little 3-4 if you're feeling hungry.
You know how long it's been since I've had bologna?
Well, come over any day. I've got 14 of them.
Do you have? Is there bologna in?
There's actually a
in
sale.
UK.
Russ is over this weekend is running 99 cents for a pack of bologna. I stocked up.
We have luncheon. We have luncheon meat. We have spam, obviously, like anybody.
Yeah.
And then we have corned beef. But we have 2 types of corned beef. We have the one that's in a can that smells like dog food and tastes like dog food.
Tastes like dog.
And then you've got the deli corned beef, which is because corned beef over in the States is an actual chunk of beef that has been treated in the brine and everything else. Here it's literally all the shit they scraped off the cow that they couldn't into something nice.
Yeah.
That's pretty much
just
bologna.
smash it together.
Yeah, that's bologna.
But I mean, we have Hazlitt as well, which is a similar kind of thing. It's just whatever's left in the vat at the end of the boil.
Yeah.
Just kind of form into a shape and put it. We have ones in the shape of teddy bears, which apparently make kids want to eat it.
That cannot be real.
It's seriously, it is in the shape of a bear's face, and it has lighter coloured meat and darker coloured meat to give it definition.
Oh
no.
It is a
God.
frightful prospect.
That is just gotta be.
We have clown bologna.
Yeah, that's true. It should be.
Or
illegal.
it's like
That's
different
worse
shades
than
of meat to
marketing-
make a face.
It's worse than marketing like cigarettes to kids with Camel Joe and stuff. Like
I just feel like
Put it this way. We'll just put it this way. We have a thing called Brexit over in the moment where we're actually leaving the European Union as a country. We're deciding that isolationism is the best way to go rather than sticking with 28 other countries and you know the clever way of doing it. So at the moment they're talking about a trade deal with the States, but a big sticking point of it is the actual way that you guys treat cheap meat, shall we say.
Yeah.
And it does not meet European standards of human consumption.
I bet.
yes,
Quite literally.
No, that happened with our frozen foods too. I read a thing that said that something we put in our frozen food to keep it like preserved
Wasn't
is
it like
something that was
silicon?
I don't know,
something?
but it's banned in everywhere else in the world. It's
The pink
something that
sludge.
goes on all our frozen food that is like a known carcinogen that no one else in the world puts it
Yeah.
in there anymore.
McDonald's had it until very, very recently, and they were the reason why it was finally banned over here, because we kind of looked at it and went, why does it look like there's ectoplasm all over our chicken?
Yeah.
What the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
So then it was just like, well, this stuff will kill you, but it tastes good. It does not matter, unfortunately.
No,
Yeah.
So we can't have nice things.
Jamie Oliver came over to the States like a couple years ago and tried to do a reality TV show.
Yeah.
And for like school lunches, he wanted to switch them to like more organic food and stuff
Yeah.
because like our school lunches are shit.
They're bad. Or they're bad here.
And they're like, what? He's like, what is this? And he's like,
Pizza is classed as a vegetable in some schools in the States. That's
Yeah.
where Jamie Oliver
And
drew
French
the line, like,
fries.
what the fuck is this?
That's bad, man.
but he looked at our chicken nuggets. He's like, what's this? And they're like, chicken nuggets. And he's like, this has chicken in it. And they're like, yeah, you just peel the breading off. And he's like, that's not chicken. That's that's it's nothing
Oh,
nothing like
God.
chicken. And he went to the factory and found out that it was like the carcass and like the bones, everything that like all the cuts were just taken off, like all the meat, and it was just left with the carcass and like whatever was left, and they grind that shit up, and then they mix it in with like this pink sludge or whatever.
Yep.
And then they cut it out in fun shapes, and like chicken nuggets.
And that's literally what I eat on a daily basis
Yeah.
for the most part to fuel my life. I'm gonna die at 40 of carcinogen. I'm gonna die, but it'll be worth it.
At university, I actually did a study in McDonald's. I actually did a thesis study on McDonald's, and because they still to this day sponsor terrorism in various forms. They have a long-standing relationship with Sinn Féin, which is the political arm of the IRA, that they're not allowed to bomb within a certain distance of their restaurants. So they fund the political arm of Sinn Féin. But their burgers, until they still have crushed cow bone is still an active ingredient in their burgers because it's a filler. It's a cheap filler that works in there. One of the main ingredients for their milkshakes, until I don't know if it's still the same in America, but it's lard. So that was banned in England about 15 years ago. So you were literally drinking animal fat with sugar.
Yeah.
And that's supposed to be good for you. And we have adverts over here saying we only use the best chicken that's been in a vat for a day.
Yup. That's actually more annoying.
Grinder.
I'm actually more annoyed by stuff like that. Like if someone comes up to me and I'm like, "What is this?" and they're like, "Dude, this is some sketch meat. It's terrible, but hey, I mean, you can eat it." I'm fine with that. But if somebody's like, "This is primo stuff right here," like that's what pisses me off. Like, don't try to make it sound like this bologna that I'm gonna eat's gonna be good. It's gonna be shitty. Just tell me it's shitty.
A couple of years ago, we had at Taco Bell. Taco Bell got caught putting sand in their meat for fillers.
What?
Yeah, a
How
couple
is
years
that
ago.
even a thing?
It was the scientific term. I think it was called like silicon too or whatever.
Yeah.
But it was literally a filler, like so they didn't have to use so much meat.
God damn it, dude.
And people found out and they're like, "Are you fucking feeding me sand, dude? Are you putting beach sand in my goddamn taco?"
I'm just not even that picky. Like I'll eat shitty. Like if they just tell me, "Hey, this is made of some sketch shit in a vat," I'll eat that. But don't try and tell me that it's fancy meat either. Like don't fucking sell me. Don't try and sell it like it's the best you could conjure.
Well, there's a supermarket in the UK called Marks and Spencers, and they're quite a middle class to high class kind of supermarket. And they have this long-standing advert that says, "This isn't just a cheesecake. This is a Marks and Spencers hand-reared, artisanal Belgian chocolate cheesecake." And whenever they come under my house, it's just like, "Fuck you." Like, it's a cheesecake.
It is. Come on, dude.
Yeah.
It's just a cheesecake.
Yeah.
It's frustrating, and definitely this is gonna circle back to ghosts somehow.
Yeah, somehow.
I'm positive, and it's a secret. It's actually a secret. All ghosts come from factories where that
Cheesecake.
terrible meat is produced. Yeah, like they're all angry spirits that fell into vats.
That's
of food.
actually what started ghosts. Like
But that's a
somebody
thesis as
lied
well.
about food.
How about think of the billions of chickens and pigs that are killed in this every year? Wouldn't we, if ghosts were real, where are all the pig? I mean, they died a horrible death. They certainly would be in some sort of purgatory.
There is like a farm or something around here that claims they have ghost cows.
Ghost cows. No, I mean, but for real though, like, yeah, that really feeds into the humans are so stuck up. We're like, oh no, animals wouldn't be ghosts. They're not humans.
Yeah,
like, dude, you're an animal.
that's also
They
one
don't
of the
have the
arguments.
consciousness.
Yeah, what is
Yeah,
that?
they don't have an intelligent conscience, so they don't deserve a soul.
Well, I mean, okay then. So even if you cut it like that, then there should be dolphin ghosts because they have the same cerebral cortex than we do.
Yeah.
First of all, we haven't seen everything in the ocean. There could be ghost dolphins. We're still exploring the ocean.
It's funny though.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny though because like
Ghost dolphin.
there will be people who are like claim like there's ghost ships and shit on the water, and it's like, well, how does that boat have a ghost?
Exactly.
I don't get that. Yeah, well, it's a great question.
You know, like like a famous car like James Dean's car, like it's got some kind of like spirit.
Haunted car.
Like you can hear his car crash every night at 3 a.m.
God damn
Hear
it,
the
dude.
screams.
Yeah.
Actually,
If it's a ghost ship, then okay. Does the whole crew have to be
Yeah.
part of it, or
Yeah.
was
Or
one
is
guy
there-
like a Zen Buddhist and was
Yeah.
like, oh, I'm happy with my life, and off he went to wherever.
Or like when
everyone
you get
else
to the
behind.
spiritual world, you get a choice. Like you want to go back as you, or you want to go back as something else. Like,
I'm always curious about that.
I really liked my boat, so I'm gonna go back as a boat.
I love that scene in South Park or the South Park movie, whatever, where everyone lands in hell. And he was
Yeah.
like, "Wait, I'm a Christian."
Yeah.
And like they're like, "Who got it right?" Oh, it was the Mormons. The Mormons are the ones that made it to heaven. Everyone else, you're down here now. Like,
Yeah.
I love that, like the concept, because humans are like that's how we develop. Like, one religion thinks they're all going to heaven, and everyone else just isn't. Like, we're
Yeah.
so weird. The constructs that
But not
we
for
build.
nothing.
What was it?
If any religion deserved to go to heaven, it would be the Mormons. Because they have the most bonkers fucking law of any religion I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah.
Well,
A
let's not
dude who
forget.
could not read or write got a tablet that only he could decipher and had to look at it from behind a sheet.
Yeah.
It's like,
Let's not forget
no.
about Scientologists. You couldn't read from behind that sheet and read the tablet if your phobos were off count, you know,
Yeah.
or whatever the fuck.
Isn't it Eaton's or something like that?
I don't fucking know. I don't know Scientology.
Yeah.
Like whatever.
Elon Hubbard is either the fucking cleverest man, well, he's dead now, but the cleverest man that ever lived, or Hollywood is a dumb fucking species of humanity.
Yeah. I think it's your second one.
Religion is such an interesting topic. We could do a whole podcast on that, just
Yeah.
because, like, and not even disproving. Like, I'm not even saying like in anyone, just how human beings have constructed ourselves around that. That could be its own podcast, I think.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Or like monks, where they like devote their whole like the rest of their lives not speaking or anything.
Dude, that seems like a fair way to do it. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna start a religion where we're like the only thing you have to do to get in, like, it's like a gaming religion. Like my church is just full of PCs.
You don't
LAN
get to.
party.
You don't go to heaven unless you play a game.
Yeah. The only way to reach heaven is to get full tier 2 raid gear on World of Warcraft, bitch. Like, that's the only way to do it.
You gotta get
It should be
prestige
like, I'd like to join your
97
religion.
times.
It's like, I want to join my religion. What's your ping?
Yeah. Yeah.
What's your Call of Duty prestige? Oh, prestige 7? Sorry, try Christianity.
Yeah.
Come back at prestige 10.
I like World of Warcraft, don't we all?
You gotta
Just-
scuff.
That's how you do it, man.
You're not in if you don't have a
You don't have a
scuff.
scuff? Get out of my religion. Get out of my church.
Hallowed be thy scuff.
Yep, that's the only way to. That's how. If I started a religion, that's what it would be like. And my religion would not have ghosts.
Give us each day our daily baloney.
There's ghosts in games.
Who wants to
dude.
go to heaven? Yeah, that's its whole own thing. Like, definitely, if I end up in hell, I think I'm all right with that. Because, like, if we're just sending people arbitrarily to hell, then who wants to hang out with the snooty douchebags up in heaven? Like, if that's like, you know what I mean? I don't want to circle jerk with a bunch of old prude people.
I like the idea. It used to be a cartoon show on Comedy Central. I can't remember what it's called, but it was essentially like society in hell, and it's just like Earth. Like everyone has an apartment, everyone has a job.
Yeah,
you
it's
got
just
somewhere to
regular.
be.
Oh,
It's
I
just-
remember that show.
Like, I think it's like something like the sadistic people or something like that.
Yeah, I remember it though.
But it was so interesting because like the main character was in love with like the devil's daughter, who was also like a lawyer in a court in hell.
No, that's like what I mean. Like, I'm fine with my lot, I think. Like, I don't worry about it too much. Hopefully, I would laugh so hard if I go through my whole life not believing in ghosts or otherworld and I end up like turning into a ghost.
That'd be
Being a
hilarious.
ghost.
Yeah, I'll be
See, like-
so fucking mad.
I already have a plan for when I do become a ghost. Like
What's your
when
first thing?
when I die, like I have a list of people I want to haunt, or at least like speak
Wrong
to.
answer. Girls'
list.
locker room every time.
I have a list. I have a list of people I want to haunt.
If the first thing you do isn't go, I bet the line to go like sneak into the girls' locker room as a ghost is long.
It probably is.
Oh, yeah. Isn't that and take a shit on Hitler's grave or something
Yeah.
like that? Like, yeah. Sorry,
Yeah.
dude, like,
That'd be
it's about
hilarious.
2,000 years long. You can wait, or
Somebody should make a movie that like somebody dies recently and they become a ghost, and
So
he's
you
like,
try to go do cool.
I'm
ghost things.
gonna go check out the girls in the girl locker room, and he gets there and there's a giant line. He's like,
Just
what
lines of ghosts.
what
doing all
are
the
what are you
cool
guys
ghost
waiting here
things.
for?
That would be a funny.
Jesus, just like a man. Yeah, I'm with,
He's
I'm
like,
with you.
I'm gonna skip to the front of the lines on all my favorite rides.
You gotta buy a Ghost Fast Pass
and
if
he,
you want to go.
and he finds out the lines are
Pass.
twice as long.
I have got life's fast, but actually, I wonder if that would work. Would I still be an amputee in heaven?
Oh, that's a good question.
Then I'd still get my fast pass. I'd be like, yeah, bitch, look at this.
Do you ever want to?
It comes off and everything.
Like with the supernatural aspect, do you ever just want to like go fuck with a faith healer, Musty? Like, do you ever just want to walk up and be like, can you fix my leg? And just like, what are they? They just be like,
What if
what
like?
the fuck are they gonna do with that?
What if the missing part?
I mean, I do find it funny how people treat it. I mean, your guy. There was a guy on your was it Waytat that was on your stream the other day. That was begging for a gift sub.
Yep.
And I was in bed, and obviously when you go to bed as an amputee, you take your appendage off. You
Right,
don't sit there in bed with a fucking prosthetic leg. So I'm laying there, I'm going, well, dude, I can't do it because I'm on my phone. He's like, no, just get up. And I'm like, okay, I'll put it this way: if you can make my leg grow back, I'll sub you right now. I'll sort you out.
That's how you do.
What if?
But yeah, no, my prosthetic, I can't. Well, my actual leg, the bit that was left, is actually in a university hospital. Not on show, but they have it in a jar essentially.
Yeah.
So maybe that's haunted. I wonder if it's already crossed over.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, what if, like, yeah, you had a ghost, like, the rest of your leg is just ghost right now, like, it's just following you around.
I would like to hope that my leg is pissing someone off somewhere right now.
It's what you trip over. Like, that's actually how it works. Like, that's what you trip over. Every time you trip over nothing, it's a ghost leg. It's a ghost. Obviously.
Yeah, it's my zombie foot.
Zombie foot gaming, full circle.
That's where it came from. There we go. That's where it came from.
Full circle, man. Full circle. But no, like I can't believe in anything supernatural. I keep trying, and that's why I'm always doing like open to like. I want someone to make me believe in supernatural.
Would you go on like It's kind of hard because, like I said before, a lot of people just let their imaginations run wild. But would you go like on a ghost hunt with me?
I would go on anything. I'm not afraid of it. It's like, yeah, I mean, I would go on a ghost hunt as soon as I would do anything I'd go out to do. Like, I wouldn't want to do it because I wouldn't want to leave the house. But
I think we should.
Out of the house, I'll go ghost hunt.
I think we should do what's it called? IRL stream.
Like an IRL ghost hunting stream.
Yeah, for one of the episodes.
That'd be so good.
We'll get like night vision on.
Night vision, yes, and like
we'll have chest cams.
That would be amazing.
Did you hear that?
Except for again,
I watch that all day long.
I think I would set up a few stage things and just not tell anyone, except for those of you that are here for this stream.
If you do, you shouldn't tell me either.
Just
so it's authentic.
I show up to like an hour before you, and I'm just setting things up to be like whack in the background.
Yeah, or like have like like a friend or somebody like hiding in there, just like
oh my god,
smashing bars against the walls or whatever. Like, dude,
what do you guys think about like photographic evidence of kind of, you know, when you see like an exposure of a photograph where you see like someone in the background or things or pictures of like people that have already passed that are pretty provable, say actually this person was 100% dead when this photo was taken, so how else would you explain that being there?
I mean, there's definitely fakes, and I'm well aware of fakes.
Yeah, there's fakes.
But there's also, I do believe there's like real ones out there too.
I mean, you'd have to think at least somewhere. But I mean, I don't believe they're real because I don't believe in ghosts. But
I mean, there's definitely like double exposure. There's a whole lot of techniques, like doing it with old camera and old footage.
Right.
And doing it with like obviously like Photoshop and shit.
And they really work hard to try and keep those provable. Yeah. They're like, oh, ghosts can only be seen with this shutter and this type of like film with this design of aperture, and you
gotta have the dust level in the room just right.
Yeah, like you can't capture ghosts on your fucking phone. You
iPhone,
can't just, like, give it a snap.
Yeah, like they have
what
to
they call dust. They call it an orb, don't they? The orbs of light.
Orbing. Yeah, the orbing.
When it reflects dust or like a bug, like, dude, you see that orb?
Yeah, how about you just
That's
dust your fucking house and then we'll do it again and see if it happens.
Right? Dude, you need a fucking air purifier.
Yeah, that's what the ghost is actually telling you.
You never
get yourself a goddamn fucking air purifier.
You never hear a ghost hunter complain about the quality of the air.
No, definitely not.
Like they walk in like, dude, this my nose is fucking stuffed. You purify the air?
That's how I feel like I will be a bad ghost hunter. I'll be like, man, it's hot in here. Oh, dude, it's really shitty. Let's go to a McDonald's. Like, let's go investigate an air-conditioned hotel.
The Wendy's has been haunted for 10 years.
Yep.
Ever since Nixon passed to the other side.
Yeah. I do.
Yep,
I love it
that's
when they
exactly.
do that on like Ghost Hunters, whatever. They go to like an occupation that's like during business hours. Or like,
Yep.
well, we're in this one part of the building where there's nobody, but on the other side of that door, there's a room full of patrons. And it's like, well, obviously you're gonna hear some fucking shit because there's people over there. Like, what the fuck? Like, and who's to say one of those assholes might not come in and like fuck with you guys? Like,
Yep.
you know, oh shit, Zach
Exactly.
Bagans is here. I'm gonna come in here and try to fucking scare the shit out of him.
I'd always love to see one of those when they're kind of saying, oh look, you can see the orbs of light, and then you just hear his. He's got like a Dyson and just starts sucking it all in.
Yes.
That'd be
Oh my
hilarious.
god. That's why. Like,
He like flips on like one of those portable air filters.
I believe that humans. See, that's my problem. Humans are super good at replicating, and if there was a true way to see a ghost in any form, leaked even to a few people, by tomorrow everyone would be taking pictures of ghosts for their Instagram.
Well, and that's
Like, you know what I
that's
mean?
the
Like-
other thing is like when you go to those places where they catch like ghosts and stuff, or
Yeah.
like the ghosts are famous for being there. Why is it like it's always some like asshole who's got like super expensive equipment, or it's a famous guy with a
Yeah.
TV show? But like if you or I went over there and took pictures, we wouldn't get shit. We wouldn't get jack shit.
Yeah, it's well because you don't have your aperture set right, and
Yeah.
there's not enough dust in the air.
I don't
make
I don't
sure you
have the
get
right flashing bulb on my camera.
It's that one camera from the 20s that
Yeah.
only worked on 1 year.
Yeah.
Yep,
That
once
they
in
don't even
every
make
30
a film
years.
for anymore.
Maybe they're using like ghost bait. They just like put out like a plate of cookies or something.
Or maybe Supernatural was right, and the reason there's no ghosts is because hunters take him down.
Oh,
Maybe it's just this
Maybe.
conspiracy. It's the easiest way of making sure that no one believes in ghosts. It's just
Yeah.
one big government conspiracy.
Making sure that that there's no way to capture them.
yeah.
They actually
it was
know
like
how to
Hellboy,
capture
where you
it.
see at the beginning of Hellboy, the guys at the talk show, and he's like, "Well, it's just a hoax. Who knows? We see these signs all the time,
Oh
and all
god.
the time."
I could see that. I could see that. That doesn't surprise me so much. The Illuminati controls the system, man. They do it.
Fucking Illuminati.
That's
God
why they
damn.
killed Anthony Bourdain, apparently.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They're on top of everything. They control everything. They are the ghosts, man.
Why take out like a national leader when you can take out a chef?
Yeah,
Yeah.
why would that's obviously how you do it. Like maybe I mean he probably pissed him off. That's you don't anger the Illuminati or the Freemasons. Stay on good terms with those guys.
Yeah. You should
Is
just
your
leave them
camera
alone.
blurry?
Is my camera blurry?
Maybe a little.
It
Maybe
might
a
be.
little bit.
It might be going
bit.
in and out of it.
There could be. Did I smudge it? I did move it earlier. I hope I didn't smudge it. But maybe
Got,
a
like,
little
bologna
blurry.
grease on it.
It also could be it's on not autofocus, so if I lean back too far, it might come out of focus slightly. Like
Yeah.
it probably would be better if I stayed right at like this because it's where I centered it while I was talking like here, so I should stay like right at this like distance. Not allowed to move. I can only stay in this one spot.
I just noticed how we have it set up so whenever I like look to talk at you
Yeah, we're
on
looking
screen,
the
I
opposite
look like
way.
I'm looking on the opposite.
Yeah,
way.
we'll have to change our sides again.
Yeah, if we stick this way.
Yeah, we'll have to. We just changed it last time too, but yeah, now we'll have to change it so that when we look at each other, we look inward, so that we both look at Musty,
Yeah.
obviously.
Obviously. Yeah.
But no, like I just can't. I just want to believe in ghosts. Like I'm almost annoyed because I'd like to
want
believe in
to?
them. Yeah, like how cool would that be if I believe? Like I feel like you get to believe in ghosts. That seems cool for you.
it's not cool
Fuck
for
you,
me.
man. I want to believe in ghosts.
It's not because then when you go home and like I have to take a nap in a dark room, like is there a ghost? Because I was just talking about ghosts.
I'm not. I just I'm not afraid of.
Plus, I'm in a
anything.
new house, so I'm like I'm on a little edge because I don't know what's here or what's
I think you
followed.
smudged it. Maybe I don't know. It could also be I'm zoomed in pretty far. Like I mean I don't know if
What's-
the zoom function or the
It's a webcam. It'll probably pixelate it a little bit if it's too.
yeah it
Yeah.
probably will have a little bit of smudginess. I'll clean it after the show, but I'll just be smudgy today.
Yeah,
we'll
we
get
got
our
we
quality
got
back
20
up
minutes
next
anyways.
week when we start have time set up.
Yeah.
I'll wipe it with a microfiber cloth.
I mean, I'll tell you another straight a thing that I cannot explain. But basically, when my first son was born, he was born 13 weeks premature. So when he was born, we had to stay in hospital with him. Well, when he was about to be released back home, so he was in hospital for about 3 months almost. We had to go and stay in with him to make sure we're not psychopaths and we can look after a baby properly. So we went there and we decided to go out for dinner. And as we went out for dinner, in the hospital foyer, a guy committed suicide. He jumped from like 3 floors up and like literally landed 6 feet away from us. Like it was like the most fucked up thing. So we went and had dinner, and I was like really, really shaken, and I was internalizing, going, "What the fuck? What just happened?" And then out of nowhere, this voice just went, "Don't worry about him. He's with me now. Just worry about your son." And even though I instantly went, "Nah, shut up."
Yeah.
There's still part of me that just went, "Well, why did that happen? Where did that come from?" What part of me went, "Oh, this would be a good way of dealing with that stress"?
Yeah, that's
unsettling.
And it's the me. It's the verb usage. Like if it had been like your actual, like your brain would have interpreted as "Don't worry about him. He's in a better place." Like, but the me. It's funny that one word used in a sentence can make it feel really uncomfortable.
He's with me now. It's like it was so bizarre.
Also, if that was any sort of that's a really like that's really over the top. Like tone it down, God. Like I mean, like it seems very, very intrusive. Don't just pop into my head like that. Like give some warning.
Another thing is like, why would God bother to talk to you? Like,
well, because he was freaking out.
But like what? Why would God be like, "Oh, this guy's freaking out. Maybe I should be like, hey, calm down, bro." Well, that's kind of the whole
argument. One of the most annoying arguments in all of the history of Christianity for me is them arguing that their God is all powerful, but he can't answer all prayers. Like, don't fuck. You can't have both. You're either all powerful or you're not all powerful.
Yeah,
like,
you're not all powerful.
If you can't do everything at once, then you're not all powerful.
Like, what was it? Was it Bruce Almighty when he
couldn't like
he
answer
couldn't handle it,
all?
so he turned into emails, and he's like, I can't answer all these. I'm just gonna put auto answer on.
Right, and like if that's the case, then you're not all powerful. Like that's not the definition of all powerful. An all powerful being would answer all prayers. So like that's actually one of the most annoying arguments in any religion that has those sort of prayers being answered by their deity sort of situation.
Yeah.
Maybe God just needed T1 broadband. Maybe that's what it was.
Exactly.
Just a bandwidth issue.
Well, at least like some older religions, like Wiccans, like they had like this sort of thing where like if you didn't do everything just right ceremonially, then the gods just ignored your pleas. Or Greek mythology, the gods were just total dicks, and they just might decide not to do anything that day.
They're all dicks. And
one day they're just like, fuck it, no, I ain't doing that.
Well, they used to have bets, didn't they? The Greek gods would be like, "Oh well, I'll raise you 3 sheep that we do fuck all and let them all die." It's fine.
It's true. Like I find that way more believable than like an all-powerful deity doing only the good of life.
Just about Wiccan is really, really, really funny. I was I don't know what it's like in America, but in this country, religious is all encompassing. So you have to, if you have laws that respect one religion, they have to respect all religions, no matter how bonkers they may be. And for about 6 months, I told my boss that I was Wiccan, which explained why I was never on time for the meetings because I was always late for them. I was like, well, we don't actually believe in time. So I'm sorry, but it's actually against my religion that you will press me to make sure that I have a clock or be there at 1 o'clock or whatever. And he couldn't do shit about
Oh my god, that's kind of hilarious.
They even deemed that Jedi was a recognized religion for a while. It's not. I don't think it is now, but it was for a while a recognized religion within the UK. Which is why I love this country so much.
It's fair. I think every religion is protected basically in the United States too. I think you can pretty much. You
don't even need a name for your religion. You're just like in my religion, we don't work on Saturdays. And okay.
Like it's pretty touchy stuff here. Like I like that you obviously covered up whatever's underneath Musty's Instagram
I was just
name.
gonna show.
First of all, there's nothing under. Why would you show her? You should have just ignored it.
No. I wanted to show her.
Maybe somebody was running late. And maybe we didn't have time to make a new overlay with the proper.
I was busy moving.
Al
so
pulling the rug from under us.
I know, nobody could tell that. Like, I mean, Cal's the only one watching on like a 50-inch TV.
Yeah.
Everyone else on mobile being like,
She's
I
like,
don't see
she's
it.
like sitting there with the magnifying glass. There's
Yeah,
clearly
like,
something
well,
behind that.
It's actually, you should have, what we don't do that we should have done is obviously we should have found a PNG of a ghostly figure and put it in one of our green screens.
I was wanting to put
like
some
a ghost, just
like
kind of
ghosts
in the back of one of the
like we
green
used to
screens.
do on BBG.
Yeah, we used to like.
I wanted to do that, but our windows are so small. I didn't know if people would.
Yeah,
notice
you
it.
put like a little like peeking ghost like right.
Like
at the corner.
just like keep the
Wow,
galaxy,
if
but
you're
have like a
watching
little
that on
ghost.
mobile, Cal, and you could see that.
She could see that.
You need to be in
Wow.
a SEAL team somewhere.
Yeah. Oh my God, she was. She obviously had like on one of those like click on like ding, ding, ding glasses that you use like when you're working on models.
Someone give her a
You should
job.
be in like a sniper nest somewhere looking for a barrel.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Like she's just sitting there. Like,
I can barely see it from here, and I'm looking
she's
at
working
like a
with
40-inch TV.
the CIA, and she's got her mobile phone. She's like, "Yep, terrorists are right there." Like I can't
Yep.
see shit. It's like,
they're
"Oh yeah,
there.
just drop the bomb. I promise you, they're there."
Oh, I see you, Mr. Overlay.
Oh God, that's funny. That's good stuff. Cal's powered by ghosts. It all circles back.
Yeah,
She's got ghost eyes.
ghost
The
eyes.
power of 10 human eyes.
Do you think ghosts have like good eyes?
I don't think ghosts have good anything. They're dead.
Are they dead though?
I mean, they're dead.
What if their energy just like transfers to another dimension?
I'm gonna be mad if I turn into a ghost. And if I turn into a
Are
ghost,
you
is-
gonna-
like you said, like, do ghosts just live in their own society? Like, is that like the next now we're just ghosts, so we just live in that
It's
same
either
society?
like another society, like another world,
Yeah.
or it's just like a hellish purgatory.
You think
As
it's
long as
gonna
they
be a
have
Hell's
gaming.
Purgatory? Yeah, right.
Hmm?
I don't
If
want.
they have
I want
gaming,
a
they can
game.
Suck it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but we could invent it. We could just go invent ghost games.
Yeah, that's right.
Like Second Life Ghost
Yeah,
Edition.
we'll be the
Se-
Zuckerbergs of
Second
the
Life
ghost world.
2.5.
You're a ghost in a virtual world haunting another one.
Oh my God.
Literally.
Okay, that's fucking with me. That's too many layers, man. That's too many
I wanna
layers.
play that game.
That's an M Night Shyamalan movie right there. Is what that
Yes,
is.
That would be amazing. That would be amazing. I mean, have you guys ever dabbled with Second Life at all?
A long
very
time ago.
Uh,
I played more
not a
of
whole lot.
IMVU, which is similar. It was like more of a chat room.
I watched the
but-
documentary on Netflix about it though.
Yeah, I'm
Couldn't do
familiar with Second Life. I always try to get into it, and I just can't get into it. I just can't do it. I don't know.
Yeah. It's kind
I'll
of
be
like
a warlock or a mage all day long, but if you want me to be a real person in a real-ish world, then no, I'm sorry, I can't do that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like that doesn't seem like enjoyable role playing. I don't like my life. Why would I want to role play in another life?
I look like this handsome anime looking kind of guy.
You sent me a pic.
And
Cal
now,
said.
now I'm gonna talk to some other virtual babes who are probably not babes in real life.
Well, obviously.
You'd be like tricked by some ghost saying, I'm a 22-year-old girl.
Yeah. Or really is a 40-year-old man who's dead.
I'm the ghost of Abraham Lincoln.
I'm trying to see.
That'd be funny.
No
Four
way, it just
score-
looks like little white dots. Cal.
4 and 7 years ago.
She's like, look how easy it
Cal-
is to see it. And it's like just little white dots. It wouldn't flip even for me. I don't even know what the fuck that is.
Can she zoom in the video?
I don't think so.
Cal,
She's just
don't be
got.
so modest. Bravo for having like the eyes of a hawk.
We're gonna
Yeah, I think
yeah.
that you just. I
We're
think
gonna
you just
get-
have great eyesight.
We're gonna get Cal a job.
At
I'm not mad at the
NASA.
font though. The font's nice.
My phone's nice.
No, the font.
Oh, I thought you said the phone is nice. The font.
Oh, yeah, the
font
font.
is nice.
That's
yeah.
that's actually what we used to do on BBG.
Yeah, well, it's my favorite. So it's my favorite one that I use on my stream as well
Yeah.
for things a lot of times. Almost all of my stuff is written
Just
in that
turn
on
it
my
sideways.
stream.
Just turn it
I love
sideways,
how
Nick.
Cal's now getting tech. Turn it sideways.
My-
Put it to your face.
It wouldn't spin. Yeah, like I don't know why the fuck it wouldn't like rotate. My phone said no. It was like, nah, not
Just a
this
minute.
picture.
No.
You stuck it under a microscope.
Yeah.
Pixel by pixel.
Pixel by pixel.
Then she put on her reading glasses. Like clearly there's something behind Mustygoose.
Obviously, there's something. I mean, you can see it right between the O's a little bit,
Yeah, you can see an A and an E.
but it looks like stars.
Looks like
I
there's
thought-
eyes inside the O's.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I thought it would just fit in.
I
She said you
think
can
you
clearly
could
say the A
clearly
and E.
can't.
That's like what
Clearly
you
can't.
said exactly. Oh my
Yeah.
god.
I'm wearing glasses and I couldn't notice that shit.
I couldn't see it.
Yeah. We'll do better next week, Kyle.
Yeah, next week is going to be less of a shit show.
Yeah.
We probably realistically should have taken this week off, let King Court settle in, and then built the stream room. But no, we never sleep, we never stop, and we decided to do a shitty show. Well, welcome to the podcast, Musty.
Honestly, I thought about it, but I was like, no, because I promised it like six episodes in a row that we're gonna do this on this day. So yeah.
Yeah, right, I thought it was crazy. You were moving, and then was like, yeah, we're gonna do a show as well. Because I moved twice within a year, and that almost killed me.
Yeah.
Literally.
Oh my god.
I found out within the past couple days that I have too much shit.
Yep.
And like
that's actually the best way. The best way to cut down on the things you own is to move, and you're suddenly just throwing shit in the trash.
Right. Like I have a shit ton of cups that I don't use because I get my cups from the movie theater now, and they're they're pretty good. They're pretty good sized cups, right?
Say Club Penguin for a second.
Yeah,
if there's a Club Penguin cup, I'll definitely get it.
You get like your medium large drinks at the movie.
Yeah,
theater.
well, like I have bigger ones from like the movie theaters, but this is kind of like what they look like.
Bigger ones, you could drown in that.
Yeah, like a little bit bigger.
The ones from our movies are like literally like if you have to hold them with like two hands.
Yeah, yeah, it's like a double gulp, but you can't get them in New York though.
We like to keep our diabetes on the down low,
Right.
personally.
Not here. We prefer. They're like, would you like the medium diabetes or the large diabetes?
Yeah. You want diabetes today or tomorrow?
Today or tomorrow. Yeah.
I remember drinking. We have Mountain Dew over here, but I had one in the States, and it was just like, what are you putting in this that we don't get? What's illegal that you can't put in European version?
Yeah, that's what we gotta do. We gotta do both.
Yeah,
we gotta fly Musty over here. And we're gonna just take him to like Diabetes Central. We're gonna like go to the movies, eat some popcorn, and get like a big gulp. And then we're gonna go over there and eat some like dark.
Don't waste your money. Come here, absolutely, but don't waste your money because I literally have the stomach the size of a small banana now. So I had like gastric surgery. Like
the gastric bypass. Yes.
Oh,
yeah. So I'm the cheapest date imaginable because you can just give me a star and I'm done. I'm all good.
How did that, real quick, since we're kind of near the end of the overall podcast anyway, let's shift topics. Like, if you don't mind me asking, is that depressing to you? I've always looked at gastric bypass surgery. I know it was for health reasons and that was a good thing.
Was it elective?
No, it was not selective. You did it purely for health reasons, right?
Like they told you needed it.
To cut a long story short, I was grossly overweight. I was, in your money, 574 pounds at my heaviest, which is about 41 stone in UK. You know, because you guys don't like the metric system very much, so you do it different to everyone else. So basically, I was enormously overweight and unfortunately had an extremely strong heart. So my argument with my doctor would always be, well, if my heart's still fine, then I'll just carry on doing what I'm doing and eating 12, 13, 14,000 calories a day. And then everything sort of fell apart all at once. So essentially I fractured my knee and then couldn't get around on crutches very well. And it took like almost a year to get through that. I then developed neuropathy, so I couldn't feel my feet at all. Like literally nothing. Both of them. I mean, one's not there anymore, but the one that is still there, I can't feel anyway. So it's like there's zero feeling there. I then broke my foot upwards of 40 times over a 3-year period, and then got septicemia through infections in the bone, and they would like because your bone's like a honeycomb system, so it's like a mesh that's filled with calcium, which makes it hard. I had no calcium left, so I literally had like a hole that went from the top of my foot to the bottom of my foot. That was about a centimeter wide. And they would have to cut bits of it away with scissors. That's how much calcium was just completely degraded. So they wanted to do 10 years of constructive surgery on my foot. So basically, you'd have to have surgery to re-break the foot, recast it, then a year to get over it, then they'd do it again and again and again. And it was about a 20% success rate. So I just went, take the foot. I'd been 4.5 years of not being able to walk properly. I'd spent a year purely on my arse. I was, because my oldest son's disabled as well,
Mhm.
I wouldn't go into hospital. So they have like an acute center where you get hospital treatment, but you don't have to be an inpatient. So I would go to the hospital twice a day to get antibiotics to keep me alive, essentially, and
Yeah.
then go home and sit on my ass. And that went on for a year. And then I just went, shut the fucking thing off. I just don't need it anymore.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, I had a gastric bypass and I lost 23 stone, so over half my body weight,
And
roughly.
did
In
it?
5 years, roughly.
Did you adjust emotionally? Obviously, that was a lot at once. Anyway, to adjust emotionally too. But I feel like for me, it would really. I would be really sad if I couldn't like obviously you don't want to if it's for health reasons you got to do it. You can't just like eat all you want, but I'd be really depressed if I couldn't just go get a double cheeseburger and just eat a double, you know what I mean? Like that would if I couldn't just eat a large portion one day cuz I felt like it. I feel like that would take a psychological toll.
Yeah, it fucks with your head because I mean, the being overweight is, I would say, between 80 and 90% a mental block.
Yeah.
It's not a metaphysical block. For some, it is. There is always the example that proves the rule. But for the most part, because when you have gastric surgery, you have to go to these seminars, and in these seminars, they sit you down. They go, well, you can have this, you can have that. There's different types of gastric bypass surgery you can have. I had what's called a sleeve, which is not a full bypass, where they literally turn your stomach into like the size of an egg. It's kind of an intermediary thing.
Yes.
So, and they would tell us that it was about a 40% failure rate. And the reason why it would fail is because the person couldn't deal with the fact they couldn't eat.
Yes.
So they would melt chocolate bars, or they would add lard to things to make it calorific, so they would continue to put the weight on, because they would lose the weight and thus lose the actual crutch that stops their pain from eking out into the world. And that was
Right.
100% what mine was about. Mine was about getting to that point of being so full that it felt like a hug. And it sounds bizarre and weird and sad in a way, but that's how I had to feel all the time. Otherwise, something was wrong somewhere.
Yeah.
So I went from that to then being, I mean, when you first have the surgery, you literally are on liquids. You have to learn how to eat again. So you're on liquids for like 6 to 12 weeks only. And then you have to gradually introduce like softer food, like mushed up food. And then you go on to eating a somewhat normal-ish life. I had the added benefit of actually having a rare reaction where I couldn't process meat at all. So if I put meat in my mouth, I'd throw up like instantly. Yeah. So I went vegan. And then went raw vegan. So I went the full gambit of like 100%. I'll eat a panda sandwich with gorilla hands as bread, to like going, well, I can only eat quinoa and 40 bananas a day, which essentially was my diet at one point. I was on what they call the raw till 4, so it was only raw fruit and vegetables until 4 p.m. Then I would have one vegan cooked meal, which would have to include 2 kilos of rice or 2 kilos of vegan pasta with vegetables and so on and so forth. But I lost 11 stone in 2 and a bit months. Like literally the weight fell off me at such a rate I became actually sick because I was not getting the nutrients I could get and so on and so forth.
That would be
a long story short,
problem. Go ahead. Finish your story. Go ahead.
To cut a long story short, essentially, I know now that I could have done it on my own. No, because it is hard. It's very hard. I cook most of the meals for my family. I have 3 kids and a wife. I cook for them almost all the time, but I very rarely eat the meals I cook because I just don't like it. I don't enjoy the feeling of eating anymore, because you know that feeling when you've like, say, Thanksgiving and you've eaten like a whole turkey dinner, and then you have to unbutton yourself and go, oh, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Imagine that after one bite of food.
Yeah.
And it becomes such food becomes your enemy in essence, and then you kind of look for like hacks. So you look for foods that don't make you feel that way, but unfortunately most of the foods that don't make you feel like that are things like chips or crisps, we call them here, or sweets, or the very thing that got you to that place in the first place. But going back to what I said, I know now I could have done it by my own, but without experiencing what I experienced, I would never have come to that conclusion. So it's a catch-22 kind of thing. Yeah. So it's unfortunate I had to do this, but essentially it was the best thing that ever happened, because otherwise I would 100% would not be alive right now. It just wouldn't. It would not have happened. I would have died of blood poisoning, or or just my liver would have exploded, or whatever. But yeah, it's a tough thing to go. I would never promote it to anybody. I would always say, just I'm kind of the wrong person to ask about it because I'm quite harsh with
Yeah.
tough love. Essentially, I don't want to tell you something that I think you want to hear. I tell you what you have to hear, in my opinion, and you take it or leave it. So I would say to anybody, gastric surgery is the last line of defense. Just try something different. Cut out soda, cut out chocolate, and see the results. That's the problem. It's reconditioning your brain to accept a positive outlook rather than a negative outlook. But the fat guy's still in me. I will still cook myself ridiculous amounts of food and then sit down and go, well, this is awkward. So I'll literally like, I made like tacos the other day, and like made the chicken, the peppers, the onions, and everything. Sat down and I had half of one and went, that's it, I'm done. And I had like 3 on the plate. It's like there's no way I could be here till now. I could still have them on my plate now and still not have eaten them. So it's a weird one. Oh shit, you have tattoos, man. I just noticed Cal asking about tattoos. Yes, I have tattoos. I have a lot of tattoos actually.
You said you have 3 kids, right?
I have. Yes, I got 3 boys.
So you're probably used to making. You're probably used to making giant meals too, aren't you?
Oh yeah, I mean, I trained. I went to catering college, so I trained as a chef. So I make food. I love making food. Feeding my family fills me with such joy.
Yeah.
But it's just like we have a thing here in the UK called a Sunday roast. So you'll have like a cooked dinner. You'll roast like a turkey or chicken or beef or whatever. You'll have roast potatoes, but proper roast potatoes, not that bullshit you have over there.
Yeah.
Like maybe like goose fat, not with like whatever Crisco or whatever the hell you guys use. And like
I love duck
loads
fat
of
fries.
vegetables. So we have that on a Sunday, and I love cooking that on a Sunday.
Yeah.
But I can't eat it. Never can. So it's
So
just one of those things.
That was one of those.
You have to just get over it. You just have to get used to it.
Yeah. Like we're good as like one thing that humans are good at for all of our flaws is changing and adapting.
Yeah.
We don't always like to do it, but we are good at it. Did your shirt just get super dark?
Yeah, that's weird.
Were you always wearing a black shirt? What the fuck just happened to my? Oh, okay. Yeah, you were faded out, super weird, and then like suddenly you leaned in and everything turned super dark and shadowy. It fucked with me. You've never had a
goose fat Screech. Yes,
Screech. You've never eaten a duck fat fry?
You've not lived unless you've had a roast potato in duck fat.
Oh,
God. It's a Christmas thing usually.
Yeah.
It's a very Christmas thing. But what we tend to do is we boil the potatoes first. You boil them for 10 minutes. You fluff them so the edges become really rough. Then you cook them in the oven in duck fat, and they become super crispy but very golden in the inside and squidgy. So they're amazing.
It's like a pub food here. Like we have like duck fat fries. They're like potato wedges fried in duck fat. You've never had a duck fat fry? No. Dempsey's is a burger joint downtown. They have duck fat fries and specialty burgers.
Vine and O, or it's along Vine, isn't it?
It's over kind of near the shop.
Oh, okay.
Where it used to be.
Well, you know what? One of my life goals is to make it to the UK.
I meant to call Screech, but yeah. So also, Cal, just about your question earlier, if you're okay with coming out to pick me up today, that'd be great. Just because I don't want to make King Ford. He's probably got a lot to do around the house.
Yeah, I gotta go. I gotta get back to moving and unpacking and shit.
Yeah, exactly. I saw all your boxes.
As of right now, I have my family doing it, and they're probably all hating me right now. Even though I've warned them like 3 days in a row that I'm going to be doing the podcast today.
Yeah.
It's like I made a promise. I got to keep my promise.
You got to do it. You got to do it.
But anyways, I was saying earlier, it's like one of my life goals is to I want to visit the UK. So, hopefully when I get there, I can eat some good food.
I would love to do that too. I go over there and the biggest psychological problem I would have with the gastric bypass surgery is just that like I don't eat to the point of like I'm holding steady. Like I'm actually like this weight. I'm at the chubbiest I've pretty much been, but right now I'm holding steady. I can't really gain weight from here unless I ate more than I usually eat. Never
say never. Never say.
Well,
never.
Yeah, that's what I mean. But like realistically, like wait, what was my main point? What did I start the sentence with?
You staying at the same weight.
Saying about you'll never get bigger.
Sorry, I was saying that I love eating, not to eat or for comforting, but just because I love tasting things. Like, I love like literally
Yeah.
every bite. Like I'm one of those guys that every time, like if I'm eating a good piece of food,
You just, like,
every time
savor it?
I'll literally be like, like I'll just moan out loud every time I take a bite.
Yeah.
Because I love flavor. I love spicy, and I love like I love over flavoring. Probably to the point that most chefs, like trained chefs like you, would say, no, that's not the way to do it. Like when I make like a chicken or something, like a chicken breast, it's just coated with like breading this thick of like spicy like spices over it that crust. I love it to be like, I want it to be like a kick in the face when I eat anything.
Oh wow.
And real culinary experts obviously don't want that. You want the flavor of what you're eating to mesh with your seasoning.
Yeah.
It depends on the person. I mean, the one thing I would say now is I'm hunting for. I actually had an idea, although it would never take off because people don't eat small portions anymore. But having what they call a amuse-bouches, or like a palate cleanser. So having something that's impactful in flavor, but just on a spoon. So everything has to be served on a spoon, but that one spoon literally gives you like a culinary uppercut. So like something that's so spicy, it kind of takes you back. But that's what I do now. So we eat curry a lot in the UK. It's kind of our national dish, which is kind of ironic because we literally stole it from India.
Stole it from
after
India. After you took control of
like,
India. Oh my god, that's funny.
Like, hello, we've brought you a flag. We're gonna take this now. Bye. And then off we went to somewhere else. So chicken tikka masala is kind of like our national dish, even though in India there's no such thing as a chicken tikka masala. It was just the way soldiers used to cover up the taste of rotting meats. They just throw a load of spices on it. But curry is massive in the UK, huge. If you go out drinking on the weekend, you more often than not either have a kebab or you have curry.
Mm-hmm.
I love yellow curry. Yellow curry is my favorite curry, but all of them are okay.
You have like tourist curries, and then you have like the proper. It's like if you go, like we have Chinatown in London. You go to Chinatown, and you'll go to a restaurant, and then you'll sit down. They'll give you a menu, and then like a Chinese family will walk in. They'll give them another menu.
Yes.
And you're just looking, going, well, what's that? And you'll see like this whole fish will come out, and you're going, well, okay, I've just ordered sweet and sour chicken and the usual white person Indian, Chinese food. So yeah, it's very, very difficult. But if you came over to the UK, I think you'd absolutely love it personally.
So I was laughing at Screech saying Nix lives in Flavortown, USA, and then Cal saying, actually, Musty's pretty attractive. I guess I have a type. She just likes the generic like chubby funster with like you have a look about you that like Cal's got such a, that's what Ricky Gervais calls us. Right? Isn't that's a Ricky Gervais thing? Ricky Gervais
Gervais can fuck off because I'm not.
He's a self-proclaimed chubby funster, and you've dropped the weight, but I feel like you are like your personality, and like chubby funster would be like.
It's the thing. I mean, I'm still a big human being compared to most people. It's just the fact that I'm not. I mean, I used to designate going to somewhere. It was like, well, okay, how many hills are there? If there are hills,
oh my
is there a bus that can get me around sooner, or is there a tube I can get on? What's the sweat factor? What's the humidity going to be that day?
Yeah.
Because I mean, it sounds strange because one of the weird things was even at my biggest. So imagine a 40-stone human being getting onto a bus full of people and going, "Excuse me, sir, can I see your ticket, please? Excuse me, madam, can I see your ticket, please?" You just see this like mountain of man in a white shirt just going, "Tickets and passes, please. Tickets and passes." But that used to be my job. So it was. I never let it hold me back, and I still have like masses of loose skin. I have to have. Eventually, I have to have more surgery to kind of, stop me from being able to soar down to the ground. If I fall out of an airplane, I'm fine. I'll make it down, no problem whatsoever. I'll just be like a flying squirrel.
First of all, that's awesome. And you should do that before you get the nip tucks. I think you should just go skydiving and go for it. Full nude skydiving.
How do you know he's having a nip tuck?
I always wanted to go in a wind tunnel, just like in a wind tunnel, just see what happens, just to see the flappage and like a slow motion camera capturing, like those slow mo guys, just to see like the ripples of flesh flapping the breeze. But the thing I was most pissed about with my amputation was I had a big mermaid tattooed down the side of my leg, and I lost the tail. Ironically, of the mermaid.
No.
That sucks.
So my mermaid became a maid. There's no mer.
It's just a maid.
She's just got like fish scale skirt on right now.
Mer's in a bin. But yeah, no. So I was really pissed at that. But it's kind of cool now because I've got like, this big scar and I get a
Yeah.
new leg every 6 to 12 months, so I get to put shit on it that I want, and people
That's
want
cool.
to
You just have to
touch it
draw.
randomly, which is
Just
really weird.
you should just draw the tail on each
Yeah.
new leg.
Well, it's amazing how many people want their kids to touch your leg.
Does that make you
Imagine if you-
uncomfortable? Or are you
that's
into
weird.
that? Are you okay
Not
with that?
particularly. I'm not particularly, but I mean, I'm sat in the park with my kids. My kids are off on their scooters, and then some guy comes and he goes, "Oh, excuse me, if you wouldn't mind, could my 6-year-old daughter come and touch your leg, please?" And I turned to him and went, "Imagine if I came up to your daughter and said, do you mind if your 6-year-old daughter touches my leg? How would you respond to that?"
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's a very doesn't work the same both ways. That's
Yeah.
for sure. Or for that matter, if you were like, "Can I touch your daughter's leg?" Like I don't think that most people would be into that
Oh,
sort
no,
of
you
side.
fucking sicko. Get out of
Oh,
here.
Screech!
Well, I'm sure there's
you
a niche
missed it
somewhere.
earlier. The reason he's using stone as a measurement is again, as he clarified that for me in court earlier, so we know what weight he's talking about. Screech has no clue what weight you're saying you were.
Well, the arsehole British person in me would say that we have a superior education system, but it's 0.7 stones per pound, just to round it off.
Our education system is pretty much terrible
Ours is
currently,
shit, yeah.
and obviously the imperialist measurements is a weird choice for.
Imperialist.
Yeah, well, no, that's what it's called. It's the imperial measurement system for a country that hates imperialism.
Yeah.
We left the ist off. We always say imperial just because it's like it sounds less cunty, I suppose. Is the
Yes,
best way of
that's
putting it.
it's so annoying.
I've always heard it imperial, actually.
It is. It's an imperial system, but I guess
But
like
you're saying like
we're-
as a group.
yeah, we're
imperialist-
imperialists with an imperial system. I guess
English people as a whole are arseholes because we conquered the world, we killed half of it, we took everyone's culture and called it our own, and then wag our knowing finger saying, "Well, I don't think you should do that. You should do this. We're going to bomb democracy into you, old chap."
well,
That's
that's
what we used to do.
That's not that much better than us. We are the exact same, and we did it to you guys. Like
We're like
we're the same
we're the
people.
younger brother of them. We're like
Yeah,
we just want to live
left
in your
Britain
shadow.
being like, these guys are assholes. We're not going to turn out like them. Psych.
But we're gonna do everything they do.
Well, there's a reason. There's a reason why everyone has an Independence Day apart from England.
Yeah, that's true.
It's so true.
We don't have
That
one.
never occurred to me that you wouldn't have an Independence Day.
Yeah.
America has one. India has one.
That never
some
literally
parts of
occurred
Canada
to
have
me.
one.
Yeah, every country has
Every
been.
country does.
You're the only country that's like been in power since the dawn of humanity.
Like we don't need.
We
no
are a tiny
Independence Day.
nation that made shit and decided to kill half of humanity
It's,
in
it's,
the name of
it's
freedom.
unfortunate, but it's also kind of impressive. Like you got to give people props. Like even though it's annoying, like it's like the biggest racket ever, and you guys have pulled it off for like the last 2,000 years.
Yeah, and then we decided, you know what? I think we'll be fine by ourselves. Can you leave now?
Yeah, like you
And
just
then it's
decided to stop.
Mm-hmm.
No, not my decision, to be honest with you. I'm a staunch socialist, so it's a
Same.
bowl of contention to say something. But we enjoyed having your president in our country for a couple of days. It was very nice.
Yeah, I bet that was a
I was
good
just gonna
time.
ask you, how was our president?
It was glorious. I mean, he came over. You right wing to you is not so right wing to us. So you are seen as quite an extreme example of the right versus left.
Yes.
So our right would probably be centre right to you guys. We still have our extremism. We still have our people
like
that
with
everyone
Brexit.
hates.
Like Brexit was pretty
Yeah, with
extremist.
Brexit. Yeah, so we have a movement within the UK called UKIP, which is essentially the political arm of racism within the UK. So basically, if you're brown, although they do have certain people of colour that are within the UKIP party, but they're generally ones that they shuffle out at conventions and go, look, see, some of them like us. It's fine.
That's the
But-
GOP for us too. Yeah, that's pretty much
Yeah,
our system
but-
too.
But generally, we have a conservative government which is right wing, essentially because we have an aging population, and most of the aging population like the conservatism, like right wing policies. Whereas the youth and people of my age, like Generation X through to millennials, are seeing a big shift towards kind of socialism and leftist views. So when Donald Trump came over, especially with Brexit going on, everyone was like, not sure we're going to enjoy this. Apparently the count was now 400,000 people marching in Trafalgar Square, shouting Trump is a cunt, essentially, because we do own swear words far better than almost anywhere in the world. So we had that, and then he went on our most right-wing newspaper and slandered our prime minister, which I'm fine with because she's a bitch. But then the next day turned around and then changed his tune completely. And the fact that it was a right-wing paper was hysterical to us, because imagine if you went on Fox News and went, yeah, you know what, the Conservatives are all idiots. I like Republicans, or I love the other way around. I like Democrats and everything else. And then the next day saying, nope, never said that. And there's recordings of him saying it, actually recordings of him saying that. And all his fans are all saying, yep, fake news. It's all lies.
That's such a cop out. It's the most ingenious and annoying thing that happens. Like, it's just so bullshit. Also, Screech says, do you just want to keep him? We'll pay you in pounds, stones, or euros, whatever you want.
I accept shekels. You can pay me in spices.
I think right now, I think that euros is a good currency over in UK, since didn't the pound plummet after you separated with Brexit?
It took. Well, here's the bad thing about it. So essentially, 2 years ago, we decided. I say we. People decided to leave Europe, and it's taken 2 years for us to decide our strategy to leave Europe, even though essentially we leave next March. So not the cleverest of thinking, but it took us 18 months. I mean, we haven't even left yet, so we know what's going to happen, but we're just waiting for the ticking time bomb to take off. But yeah, the pound plummeted, and it took 18 months to get back to the levels that it was beforehand. And all the people that were pro leaving were like, see, it was just an anomaly. We're fine. We'll be absolutely fine. We are. The UK is a services country. We don't make things. We're not an industrial country.
Yeah.
So we don't have much shit to give you other than tech support and customer service.
That's us too, for the most part.
We get our milk from halfway around the world. We actually get most of our milk from New Zealand, which is a 36-hour flight. So go figure. It makes no sense. So yeah, your president came over to try and organize some sort of trade deal, which will never happen because, like I said, the way things are going, we're just going to end up in a civil war. And I'll be doing a podcast from a bunker somewhere in London, probably.
I don't think we're too far off of that either. So
no, we're not.
That'll be an interesting take. We'll race you to the Civil War. We'll see who can get there first, the UK or fucking America. Yeah, meet you at the bottom.
There's a video where he him and the Queen are walking out to see to address the cameras and stuff.
Yeah.
And he was just mindlessly walking in front of her, and she would try to go to to the outside of him to get around him, and he would mindlessly walk over there in front of her.
Damn it.
Yep, that's our guy.
The beautiful thing is the Queen's 95, so she's not exactly sprightly in her old age.
Yeah. Yep.
But the thing that, like I was saying to you the other day, and this is by no way means of me supporting Trump. The problem is he's such a divisive human being. He cuts people in such a way that people attribute things to him that maybe they wouldn't attribute to the people that actually came up with the policies and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
So the people tore apart his walking with the Queen, saying he didn't bow, he didn't curtsy, he did this, he did that. He doesn't have to. He's a head of state. He doesn't actually have to bow. He doesn't have to walk with her. It's not how it's done. And even the Queen came out and said that.
Yeah.
Bill Clinton did exactly the same thing. Barack Obama did exactly the same thing, but people don't care about that because they love the left side of the argument. The people that kind of shout loudest kind of love him. Like I was saying to you the other day,
right.
I don't agree. Obama was a good president overall. However, the separation of children essentially started under his watch. I mean, he didn't exactly enforce it, but he still did cage children. They just so happen to be with their parents at the same time. So as long as people remember that, and remember that people did protest Obama pretty harshly, some because they were racist pieces of shit,
right?
But also people because they had a genuine complaint about his foreign policy, about him actually having a kill list, which really no other president had. Apart from Obama was kind of the first one to actively have one and has killed American citizens overseas. Proven, guaranteed.
Yes, yeah.
But that doesn't mean that he wasn't a bad president. I think what people forget is to become a peaceful world, unfortunately, people will still have to be killed. And unfortunately, there's no way of getting away from that.
Right.
We can't. This utopian, we're all going to be slamming tambourines together around a campfire and eating marshmallows, doesn't exist.
It's not
It
human
really
nature. It's not how humans function.
doesn't. Nature. There will always be some evil bastard with his finger on the trigger, willing to push it.
Yeah, Cal,
Essentially,
we're gonna be
that's it.
wrapping up. If you want to go ahead and head over, we're gonna smash into like our regular ending here pretty soon. But yeah, like I don't know, man. Like, and the big thing, part of what Obama did that got him around some of the stuff that things like Trump that get slammed with, is that Trump, he's so uneloquent. It's amazing how much you can cover up and make people okay with if you just are eloquently say it. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Obama was
Of course.
intelligent and he was well spoken, and suddenly, he made it sound like we successfully we had to do this for this reason, and Trump's like, I don't really like people that aren't white, we're gonna lock them up. Like, and like, what just happened? Like, what the fuck was that? Like,
Yeah.
like
But that is the difference. That's the major difference.
Yeah.
You have Obama who can oratate his way so eloquently around a subject and say, look, and unfortunately, and we are guilty of this as well, but America is specifically so. You have such a blind spot for the rest of the world.
Mhm.
You literally have a mirror looking out from every coast that you have.
Yeah.
Everything becomes a statistic as soon as it leaves your shoreline, and we have that to a certain extent, but you guys do have a very special way of doing that. So everything becomes numbers and stats and percentage points and this and that, and everyone just dehumanizes the subject before it even gets going.
Yep.
The difference with Trump is he couldn't spell dehumanize, let alone fucking talk about it. So he literally, he is about as much as a puppet having someone's hand up his arse and just whispering in his ear saying, say bigly, say this, say that, because they know everyone that hates him will just go blah and lose their minds.
Yeah.
And this lets the real underhand motherfuckers go, well, let's sneak this through. While everyone's
Yep.
looking at this idiot, let's sneak this through. Look at Mike Pence.
Yes.
He's more scary than Trump.
Much
I guarantee
scarier.
you he's more
Yeah.
scary
Oh,
than
yeah.
Trump.
That's
Because he has a
terrifying.
head on his shoulders and a brain to go with it.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's more
And
he's
scary.
built
And he
for
keeps his
evil.
mouth shut.
He's
Yeah.
built for pure evil. Trump is just built for sound bites and quotations, nothing
Yeah.
else.
Yeah.
It's so true. That Mike Pence is, and we're in a really scary place here because of we just lost another Supreme Court justice, and this will be this will be the first time in a while that the Republicans will truly have a 5-4, 6-4 guaranteed, or not 6-4, but 5-4 or 6-3 guaranteed vote on almost anything they want, with the Republicans holding both houses and the White House. So for the first time in the last 30, 40, 50 years, since Reagan, maybe even older than that, but Trump can essentially realistically pass almost anything he wants. And with the people backing him, that's not so scary, because Trump's not, like you said, is not scary in of himself, but the people he surrounds himself with are monsters. And we're looking at some really realistic, scary overturns, like Roe v. Wade, our gay rights movement,
Roe v.
and
Wade's a big
all
one.
of that.
Yeah.
We could realistically be looking at an overturn of Roe v. Wade within the next year or two, and that's unless the only way we won't be looking at that is, it is technically fairly rare for the Supreme Court to overturn their own decisions, because it kind of makes them look stupid. They don't like to do it. They have to really even people that would normally vote, that would have voted against Roe v. Wade its first time around, wouldn't necessarily vote for repealing it necessarily. But yeah, realistically, we could be looking at some of that, and that's kind of a frightening place for the United States to be in, because I always grew up thinking we were pretty progressive, and then as I've gotten older, I'm like, oh god, we are not as progressive as I like to. We're supposed to be where you can be whoever you want to be, and that's not been my experience these last couple of years.
Yeah.
I have not, Cal.
I've paid very close attention to American politics for about 10, 12 years now, and it fascinates me. I've never known a democracy that's run in such an uneven, underhand, smoke and mirrors,
That's a good
legal
word.
bribery kind of way. It baffles me, and America is such an incredible country. it's just it's almost like the parasite is eating its host at the moment. It's
Yeah.
like you have this amazing amalgamation of cultures and beliefs and love and understanding, and then you just have this underbelly of just pure fear and hatred
Yeah.
and lack of understanding and lack of education, and it's, I don't understand how people can say they live in the land of the free when essentially a corporation can have a legal vote as a citizen of the United States.
Yeah.
That baffles me that Coca-Cola has a vote as well as Joe Bloggs from Minnesota or from wherever.
Yeah.
That
And
would
Coca-Cola
never.
has a lot more power to wield their vote.
Yeah.
Exactly, because that's exactly my
Lobbyists.
point. And I think the Supreme Court thing. I mean, Corsic was a kind of almost a moderate pick over this new guy.
Yeah.
And I think it's a calculated move because of what's going to happen in the primaries in
Right.
October. You're going to see quite a major swing from right to left, and I think this
Yeah.
is a calculated move of saying, well, hang on, let's hang on to a little bit of power if we can. Let's hang on to a little bit of sway.
Right.
But yeah, I would much see President Trump fall on his ass than President Trump get removed and then President Pence jumps
Oh,
in.
That would
and
be
goes,
frightening.
by the way, children, it's like I
Yeah.
don't want to see that. That would be the start of a horror movie. It
Right.
really would.
I mean, President Pence would be the kind of guy that's
Yeah.
like, all right, and with the control of the Supreme Court, we'd instead of looking at Roe v. Wade being overturned, we'd be looking at like camps where they send gays to be scared straight by religious leaders. I mean, Pence is a scary guy in
Yeah.
his belief system.
You would literally see boats with multicolored flags leaving the port of New York.
Yeah.
See you
For
later.
real.
We're off to Greece.
Nope.
Yeah.
Yeah. Getting the fuck out of there. And it's just really hurtful because I've always thought of America as being so free and allowed to be whoever we want to be, and it's really hurtful to see like before Trump was elected in 2016, it never occurred to me that he would win. I was like, no, a racist
I think
douchebag.
we all thought it was just a joke.
Right, like
and
there's no way that there's enough angry racist people in our country to vote this guy in, and then when it turned out there was enough angry racist people to vote him in, that was
a few more than we thought.
yeah, it's really hurtful
Yeah.
to like. I just
think-
didn't like that.
I think Charlottesville was kind of a big wake up call for me because I mean me and my wife are both very very interested in kind of how racial divides work both
Yeah.
over here in the UK because it's a little bit more subtle. We don't have as much full on like screaming hillbillies like you may do in certain
Right.
parts of the United States,
God.
like
Yeah.
pitchforks and flaming torches and like hee-haw. But we
Yep.
do have them.
Yeehaw.
They're usually controlled in a bit better
Right.
way. But anyway, but
God, it's so
to see
embarrassing.
It
see
is.
hundreds of people in a square celebrating a statue, and let's get it right, that statue wasn't there when the Civil War raged. This was brought in the 70s
Yep.
because when the civil rights movement happened, they wanted to remind black people just who their masters were.
Yep.
So how anyone can stand there and go, well, this is tearing down our history. Yeehaw! It just
Oh
doesn't
my
make any
god,
sense to me at all.
it's so embarrassing for us, like as a country and as
Yeah.
like that's how people those are our countrymen. Like those are people that I am
Those are our
associated with,
countrymen.
and that makes me want to be dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you also, but the thing I would say about your country has going from way more than our country. We have such an ineptitude for people's rights. We are not all. I mean, you guys take your First Amendment rights, Second Amendment, Fourth Amendment rights to heart, and
Yeah.
good for you to do that because we don't have that. People get it twisted. The UK does not have freedom of speech. We have a thing called the Public Order Act.
Yeah.
So if you swear at people, you can be and will be arrested on the spot.
Yeah.
If you tell someone to fuck off, you're going to get arrested. Section 5 public order offence. We don't have the same sort of gift that you guys do, and that's why it's still a beautiful place because you have, especially the young people in America, to see how galvanized and politically motivated they are. That's a
Yeah.
massive thing, and that's something that you guys. That's your kind of phoenix from the flames
Yep.
kind of moment. If you can politically motivate the children, and unfortunately it seems to be that shooting children in the face seems to be the only thing that gets traction.
And
with
even
young
then, it
people,
hardly gets
you know.
traction here. Like they play it on the news for a day or two, and then no one talks about it again until it becomes only. It's kind of unfortunate that that's a political chess piece for us.
It's gotta go. It's gotta hit the national news for anyone to bat an eye. Really.
And even then, it's still just like a political move more than it is like a real tragedy to them. Like I can't. It makes me sick to my stomach the idea that people are sitting at Democrats' side or Republican side, and then being like, thinking of it as, oh, a bunch of children got shot. That's not gonna play well for us. Like, oh my, that's sickening. Like the idea of that.
Another school shooting. That's not gonna be good.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, we had. I'll give you a little bit of theory to the fact. We had a shooting in Dunblane in 1992. A man shot 16 children dead. Oof. We banned firearms.
Yeah, that was what changed
the next year. Guess what? We haven't had one since.
Yeah.
And people can go on and say, "Oh, we have freedom, and you're taking our right to defend ourselves." From what? Have you seen the arsenal that your country owns?
Yeah.
Do you think your AR-15 has a match to a tactical missile? They could literally pay someone to fly a missile to your house. You can have all the guns you want in the world. It's not going to protect you from a tyrannical government because heads up.
Yeah.
The tyrannical government's here.
Yeah, that's right.
Whether it has Democrat or Republican on its name, it's still a tyrannical government.
Yeah.
You wage more war overseas so you can then control your own. This is why the FBI has state and laws. Is the fact that as long as you are at war somewhere on the planet, they are in play.
Yeah.
If you had world peace, America would lose half of its jurisdiction.
Yeah,
so of course they're going to keep it going. It's common sense 101. But where we fall down is we wag our finger thinking that we're better than everyone else. And we're the ones funding. I mean, we're just as at fault with Saudi Arabia and Iraq and Iran as America was.
Yeah.
We still were the ones when, they've got weapons of mass destruction. 9 out of the 12 bombers at 9/11 from Saudi Arabia. But no, Iraq. You've just been picked to have death rained upon you.
Yeah, and that's actually the more like that's the one time we do conspiracy arguments on here as well.
Yeah,
and like it's the one time of all the conspiracies, it's the only one where I'm like, God, I hope our government didn't orchestrate, or even if they didn't orchestrate 9/11, I really hope our government didn't like ignore the fact, because a lot of people say, well, they didn't orchestrate it, but they knew it was going to happen and basically just didn't stop it as much as they should have. And that makes me sick to my stomach.
Two easy things to look at. Plausible and actually proven true. If you look at the Gulf, so if you look at the Gulf itself, and then you look at the countries that have been overturned compared to what they were about to do against the dollar, whether it be the petrodollar that Iran was going to bring in. And if you look at Iran back in the 50s and 60s, where people were literally, people weren't wearing hijabs, people weren't scared, people weren't being controlled because they had a moderate leader. America didn't like that leader because he wanted to separate the dollar from the oil that Iran produced and distributed across the world. So America went, hold it, let's pump the brakes on that for a second. How about we remove you and we get this other fucking sicko come in and destabilize the entire region? Yeah. And guess what? You harbor terrorism. Well, guess who put those terrorists there in the first place?
Yeah.
Good old USA.
That's like our specialty is putting terrorists in place and then being like, whoops.
Whoops, that was us.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, not our bad. I mean, Al Qaeda. Yeah, they were kind of ours, but
I mean, they go by a different name now, but we put those there.
Yeah, it happens all the time. In fact, it's happening right now with Turkey. We're sponsoring the fucking Turkeys like terrorists. That's us. That's us backing them and sending them shit.
But it's again, it's all down to Russia. Now, Russia, and I mean, if you don't know about what's been happening over here, we've had 2 confirmed poisonings with Novichok nerve agent. In the UK, we've had 2 with the Skripals, which was an ex-KGB agent that defected to the UK. And then you had these 2 random people, one who died, and the other one that's literally just come out of a coma, confirmed Novichok. Now, Novichok, people that don't know about chemicals and how chemicals are made, when you're talking about weapons-grade nerve agents, they have to be made in an environment that is so controlled. You couldn't cook this in your kitchen without killing the street. That,
Right.
It's that powerful.
Wow.
So for Russia to turn around and go, it was not us, it was you. and then by the way, we just so happen to have a World Cup. You can come and play football with us, but we'll kill your fucking citizens.
Yep.
It's like the world's gone fucking bonkers. But
Also,
Erdogan's a crazy
can
one
we
because
just real
he's doing crazy
quickly
stuff. Go on.
just address how terrifying it would be if Russian operatives had poisoned you and didn't get you, so you woke up and you know that those Russian operatives still want to kill you.
Yeah.
I would not want to
It
be the
was-
guy
it
that
was-
woke up from the coma.
One of the most incredible bits of video I've ever seen in my life is a female radio presenter in Russia, really staunchly against Putin, and was had someone break into her recording studio and stabbed her in the neck, tried to slit her throat, tried to kill her,
Yeah.
managed to survive. 2 days later, with the scar still showing and the bandages around her neck, went to the one and only public address that is live broadcasted on Russian television, so it can't be controlled by the government there or anything.
Yeah.
Stood up in front of everybody there and called Putin out on what he did. Because
Jesus
if you
Christ.
look, it's terrifying at how many members of the media and how many people who oppose
All right, Cal.
Putin end up in body bags. It's terrifying.
It is. In fact, we shouldn't even be talking about this live because I don't want to get Novichoked like on my way home.
Novichoked.
Like that, I don't want him to be
the
like,
address is
oh.
Clapham South, London. Come see me. It's fine.
No, dude, if you get Novichok tomorrow, it's gonna fuck with me now.
He's gonna.
Like, you'll be fine with it, but then I'll be.
I can see Putin now. He's
I'll
like,
come haunt you. It's
where
fine,
is
don't
this
worry about it.
little motherfucker?
Yes.
It's a Lincoln, Nebraska.
Don't tell him where we're at.
We've
Hide
said it
We're
how
not
many
from
times
there.
now?
We're not from Lincoln. We're nowhere near
How
it.
many times have we said in past broadcasts? I mean, all he has to
San
do is
Diego,
get.
the pair of them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
obviously.
There's probably like a Russian operative next door.
Our address is the White House. My name is President Trump. So I mean,
My name is Donald Trump.
oh god. All right, Cal's
Yeah,
almost on our way home, so let's.
So we're gonna
let's
have
do
to start
our,
breaking this down, but I
Do you
definitely
have
think
some
we're gonna
ambush
have.
interview? Do you want to do an ambush interview? We kind of did a full interview, so I don't know that we have any
Yeah.
like.
We went past our subject and went right into politics.
We did. Well, we had. An
Well,
extra
and I feel
time.
like
We
we'll
had
have.
extra
I think
time.
we'll have to have like a separate episode for
About just politics.
politics with
yeah,
Musty.
that we
If
could go
Musty
on
would like to
for-
come back on in the future.
Musty's well versed. We should do another one about just politics, and
Yeah.
it's fun to look at politics like we are across the globe, and especially with someone that's from somewhere besides here, because there's
Yeah.
America, for all of our great things, we are selfish. We don't get to talk about anyone else's politics because we're like, wait, why would we care about what's happening in the UK? We've
Yeah.
got our own stuff. Like,
Why do
and
I
it's
worry about
fun.
UK when I can worry about USA?
Yeah, exactly. That's what we're
Yeah.
like. So we should definitely do
Worry
another
about the price of
episode.
diesel.
Exactly. So yeah,
Do
definitely.
you have any
do
ambush questions?
I don't know. I asked most of the questions I wanted during the real interview when we
Yeah.
talked about the food and whatnot, or when we were talking about the surgeries
Any
that you
leg
went.
questions that are burning a hole in you?
Not most of the time, but I
Not really.
also
most
talk-
most of mine have been answered. Actually.
yeah, me too. Because I talk to Musty multiple times a week, at least several times.
Yeah.
I guess my final ambush question is: Are you gonna play Empyrean on stream tomorrow, or
That's your ambush
are
question?
you gonna just play some more Battlegrounds?
Well, I'll admit I put my base down, and then I got
Did it get blown
smushed
up?
by drones
Yep.
for about 15 minutes.
That I thought
Just
that
like
might happen.
permadeath. So I'm literally going because I remember you saying make sure you have an ammo crate. I went, yeah, I've got an ammo crate. I've got plenty of ammo. And then I spawned my base, and I was like, oh, this base is awesome. Put some solar panels on it, and I'm looking at a water filtration system. And
Yep.
it goes, warning, drones are heading towards your base. I'm like,
Yep.
yeah, motherfucker, I've got a shotgun, I've got a gun. And then these three triangular
drones,
motherfuckers show up,
Uh,
and then just go, yeah, you're dead. And
Yep.
Then, yeah,
And then you're kind of on
get your gun
repeat
back,
death,
and then
yep.
shoot again.
yeah.
It's just, yeah,
You
but
should-
I might play Imperial.
Next time that happens, you just send me a text on my. Just get on Discord, send me a PM, be like, "Come kill these motherfuckers." I will just pop into the world, and mow them down for you.
Well, that's actually, it reminds me very, very quickly, one of my favorite things, because towards gaming very slightly. So, Monster Hunter.
Yes.
Mhm.
You are aware of the game Monster Hunter.
Yes.
Obviously, it's on PS4 and Xbox. Now, Xbox, there's only 8,000 Xboxes in the whole of Japan. Xbox is not a thing in Japan
Right.
at all. everyone has PlayStation. And it used to be the known thing that if you got in trouble on Monster Hunter, you would send out a global request saying, I need help. And these 3 Japanese crack assassins would drop in and just smush whatever monster you have. If you do it on Xbox, you just hear chirping like crickets.
Oh
like,
my
yeah, you're
god.
fucked.
Yeah.
So there's this wall that you hit on Xbox. Unless you're really, really good at the game, you just can't get any further on it. But if you're on PlayStation, there's like these like trained katana wielding monster hunters that will just fuck your shit up for no
Oh
problem
my
at all.
god, I love that.
Well, I guess my ambush question would be,
Go.
what is your size of shirt you wear?
What?
What size shirt?
Are you gonna send him a shirt?
Yeah, well, I'm planning on making some shirts for the podcast, and I'd like to send one to Musty.
I don't
Their
know.
sizes
because
don't work
American
like
sizes
ours.
Tend to be a little bit weird. A little bit weird.
Yeah.
I am a 2XL
Okay.
UK size. I'm not sure what that is in US money.
Is
But
that
Here,
medium?
that's probably
here?
a medium. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I was thinking.
My biggest, I was an 11XL. That was the biggest shirt I ever purchased.
Which
That was
here-
here,
probably
here's
like a
probably
4
like
or 5.
4 or 5.
Because I'm sitting at a 4XL right now, so. But like,
Yeah.
if I get something from Japan,
I'm
it's
like
like
a- I'm
extra
like a
extra small.
52-inch chest roughly. So whatever that equates to. And
Yeah, that's like a 4X, 5X,
4X, yeah.
4XB.
oh, well, that's just small. So yeah, so also I don't know. It's I have the thing because I have so much loose skin. I have like my chest is really cool, and then I just turn into a melted candle the further
Yeah.
you go down. So it's just like this. It's like I'm so not beach body ready at all.
Yeah.
Unless you
Hey,
want to like.
who gives
We
shit?
aren't either.
Yeah, I don't.
I don't care.
Yeah, I don't
I
ever
go for
mind.
it.
Me either.
Okay, well, what
I-
size would you like me to send out to you?
We'll find it,
Uh,
and then
whatever, I don't mind.
we'll root
I'll-
it through Iceland.
You know what? I'll send you a 2X and I'll send you a 3X and we'll see.
He's
if
on
that
my
works.
Discord too. We can sync up with him later once we
Okay.
get
Tell you
him.
what, I'll do you one better. How about you send me that? I'm all for doing that. But the next leg I have, I will have that T-shirt cast into the actual prosthetic itself. So I'll be a walking billboard. So that means you have to keep the podcast up.
Okay.
Oh my
we'll have,
god,
we'll have to
that's
keep the podcast
amazing.
up. All right. Well,
So
we're
my
gonna work
leg
on.
at the moment is a less than Jake leg at the moment. So
Nice.
All right.
yeah, let me see if I can get it off and I'll show you. I'll
Oh
show
my
you on
god,
stream.
yeah, I love it.
Hang on.
I love less than Jake.
And that is the actual
Oh,
leg.
that's amazing.
That's sweet.
You see like there's an American eagle underneath there. And then you wrap around it. It
Nice.
goes on. But that's
Less than
that's
Jake.
the leg.
It's cool.
Yeah.
That's amazing, dude.
Well,
I love it.
we'll definitely
I
have to
know
keep the
Punk it up,
podcast
so, yeah.
up. All right.
I'm
Well,
stuck in the chair forever.
we'll make some
Get it back.
designs and we'll share it with you to see if you like it or not.
Yeah, Musty, thanks so much for coming on today, man. I will
Yeah.
see you tomorrow
Absolute
because,
pleasure.
well, I'll be playing Empyrean later, so if you're getting on it all before bed. But otherwise, if I don't see you tonight, I will see you tomorrow when you're streaming. What's your start time tomorrow for the folks?
Tomorrow will probably be about 7 p.m. GMT time, so that's 1 p.m. Central, roughly.
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit later, but what I'm probably going to be doing is doing 2 streams a day. Simply
Yes.
one to kind of cover England and Europe, and
Yep.
then the other one for you guys because I enjoy playing with you guys quite a bit. And I'm also the thing is, I'm trying to kind of find my footing, for want of a better fucking description, being an amputee, but. Because obviously the channel itself is mainly, well, it's not mainly, it's for my kids to have kind of a platform for their kind of playing and stuff. But I'm going to be doing the majority of the streaming. So obviously Twitch doesn't like kids being on stream too much,
They don't. They don't
depending
care
on
for
what the
that.
situation is. But I'm also going to be looking at not doing a podcast because but just me rambling on whilst playing games. I think that's
Yeah.
probably the best way of putting
Yeah.
it.
I'm good with that.
I was toying with the idea of amputee with Jay, but I'm not sure. I don't know. We'll work. I'll work it out.
Well, we'll be there wherever it is.
Yeah.
And anytime,
Yeah.
if you do ever move toward podcasting, we'll always come on your show as well.
Yeah.
And I think we'll probably have you on, since you're so into podcasting. We'll probably like make you a fairly regular guest if you're down. Like we can
Yeah,
have
I'm
you on
down for
multiple
that.
times for different subjects and such.
100%. And also, hopefully, you'll get that fucking microphone at some point before
Yeah.
the end of existence.
Yeah.
Yeah, when we send you the T-shirt, we'll make sure it goes through Iceland.
Yeah.
Don't tempt them. They'll hear this and go, yes, of course. I'm just hoping that chocolate survives the fucking many times around the planet. I'm not sure.
No matter what it looks like,
Yeah.
it's going in my mouth.
Yeah,
so
we're gonna eat
it
it.
better survive.
It'll
But-
still taste better than Hershey's. That's taste. So,
Well,
Don't
thank
do
you
it.
so much for coming on today, man. I really appreciate
Yeah,
you
thank
taking
you.
the time out of your day.
Well,
my pleasure. Thank you for having such a positive podcast.
No
It's a
problem.
rarity
Yeah.
in this day and age.
Well, we're gonna go ahead and call it and boot down for the day.
Yeah.
I can see Cal sneaking into the podcast room, being like, "Let's go get some lunch."
yeah, she's literally trying to drag her out of here.
All right, so Musty,
Come say
thank
hello.
you for being here.
Musty says hello.
It's like 1,000 degrees here. We locked ourselves in a room with the brightest lights ever,
Yeah.
and yeah, that's how we like are looking at everything. But thanks so much for coming, Musty. We're gonna go ahead and probably call it.
Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and call it. So don't forget, everyone who's watching or listening, to follow the Nevermind podcast on Twitch, subscribe on YouTube, like the videos, yeah, check out Mustygoose.
On both Instagram, and if you go to Zombie Foot Gaming, twitch.tv/Zombie Foot Gaming, all one word if I remember correctly.
Yes.
That's where you
right.
can find him streaming. I will tweet that out as well tomorrow when I go over there, so that let people know that our guest from yesterday was on. And you can also follow me on Twitch. That'd be helpful, but I'm terrible, so.
Yes.
Is
Yeah.
he
we-
on right now? Mine, he'll get my auto 5 host, and that's pretty much us. It's just us.
Yep.
All right, Musty,
Yep,
thanks
thank
for
you
being
so
here
much.
tonight, man. Have yourself a fantastic evening, and for anyone that's watching, thank you for being here today.
Yep. Thank you. We'll see you guys later. Have a beautiful day.